Greetings and welcome to the 1/6 Scale Man proudly presents Comic Book Talk with Friends. It is Monday night, so you know what time it is. 9:15. Show's normally supposed to start, but it wouldn't be us if we weren't late. Fashionably late, that is. But yeah, thank you for joining and thank you for being a part of the show tonight. It's going to be a hell of a show. In light of everything that's actually happened within the last few weeks, there's been speculations, but we're not going to actually talk about the trailer tonight. We're going to talk about everything else surrounding the trailer, talk about the characters in the Marvel Universe who pose a possible, if not a huge threat to the multiverse. It's by one simple mistake, where there's words that are uttered, portals that are open, magic cast, or just sheer manipulation of reality itself. There's a couple cats out there that you know and I know that would literally F up the multiverse. And that's what we're going to dive in tonight. But first, it wouldn't be me if I didn't bring in, like, you know, the Marvel geeks of them all, the comic geeks of them all, my group, my crew, all day, every day. Let's bring them on in here. What's going on, everybody? What's going on, people?
Yo.
Yeah, man. So glad to have everybody here with us tonight. We're going to dive in, man. Like it's been a very eventful last couple weeks, bro. You know, straight up, I believe without a shadow of a doubt that this movie's going to break $1 billion mark right off the back. I'm just calling that. It's going to be one of the biggest films of the year. It's going to open up a lot, seeded information, seeded stuff that not even all of us expect, but it's going to happen, bro. And I can't wait to see it. Vinny, what's going down, brother? What you been up to, man?
I've been binging, reading, doing a lot of drawing, catching up on a bunch of different art projects. I just did a whole bunch of Star Wars pieces. Just recently did some My Hero Academia pieces. I might show that later. We got Avengers checked off the list now. So I took like nearly 3 weeks, and I just been binging through like a huge, ridiculous Avengers backlog. And then I didn't realize how long it had been since I was like completely up to date. I've read arcs here and there. But yeah. I think when I was like completely left off being completely up to speed, it was about 2015. So let me show you what 7 years of Avengers reading looks like.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
yeah,
that's what my free time has partially consisted of, is just catching up on a lot of binge reading. Now it's like between this and Thor and Justice League, et cetera, it's a lot of bagging, boarding, and filing, which is always the least.
Yeah, I got you.
But,
I got you.
know.
I mean, that's what it is, bro. Especially right now. Like, I mean, it's like playing catch up. You know, that's pretty much what I've been trying to do, aside from everything else that life tends to take over. It's just going back and reading everything and kind of getting reacquainted. So I'm almost done with my X titles. I'm actually about to dive into Avengers, and Spidey as well. You know what I mean? So
a lot of stuff pieced in through that Avengers stuff.
Yeah, definitely a lot.
Moon Knight and all that kind of stuff. So it's good reads, man.
Definitely good reads, bro. So it's a lot of stuff that's happening right now that's about to take off, man. So I'm excited about it. Brendan, what's going on with you, brother? Butt naked Coolio, what's going on, man?
Basically a lot of the same. Doing catch up. You know, life happens and we all fall behind on books and stuff. I'm right now. I mean, I'm caught up on Spidey, Cap, Iron Man, Avengers, Moon Knight, Daredevil, like, you know, all this stuff. So my main focus right now is on catching up with my X books, which I fell way back on. And the thing is, I'm trying to do it. I'm not just trying to read like X-Men like 1 through 50 or something. I'm trying to go like you know, the way they come out. So like X-Men, X-Force,
That's right.
Marauders,
Yeah.
you know, Fallen Angels, you know, those ones, and going back and forth, so that when they reference things, you know, I'm not like missing a step.
That you're not out of it, yeah.
Yeah, or that I don't read something ahead and then it kind of ruins like a reveal in another book or something. So it's slow going on that, but I am catching up. But like, there's a lot of stuff that's jumping off right now. I mean, we just have the Trial of Magneto that I haven't read yet. You know, they've got the lives and the deaths of Wolverine, the Sabretooth miniseries. So I'm looking forward to catching up and getting into all of those. But in the
Yeah.
meantime, I've been playing a lot of Horizon Forbidden West on the PS5. That game is one of the most beautiful video games that I've ever played. Like graphically, the thing is just gorgeous. Really, really fun to play. Really cool story. Absolutely loving that game. So yeah, I've basically been catching up with books, doing that, and you know, I did get this guy in. Today.
Oh, Artemis.
So
Okay.
this guy
That's dope.
is
Is that Sideshow or Hot Toys?
Neither. This is 3-0.
Okay.
So
Oh,
3-0
3-0.
has
That's dope.
the license for Transformers. So this is the DLX scale, so it's the smaller one. And I have the premium scale Bumblebee and Blitzwing, and the premium scale Optimus is going to be coming out hopefully next month, and so I'll have that. This is the smaller scale, and this is the first one I got in that. And I got this one because it's from Revenge of the Fallen. And I'll say the same thing here to the live chat that I said in post when I posted some pictures. I don't give a shit if you like the movie or not. That's not what I'm trying to have a discussion on. For anybody who is like, oh, that movie's trash. I don't give a shit. I like the figure. I like the classic design more. That's why I'm getting it in the premium scale. In this one, I went with the Revenge of the Fallen one because hopefully next month, the Jetfire one is coming out in the same scale, and then you can combine Jetfire and this one to give him the flight system that he had in the movie and make this. So that's why I went with this, is because I specifically want to do that.
And that's a 6-scale version, right? Like 6-scale height?
Well, they don't specify. It's DLX, so this guy is about 12 inches tall.
Okay,
So
cool.
it's less than it's less than 6 scale because he's about the size of like a standard like 12-inch like hot toy.
Oh, okay.
But obviously Optimus would be bigger than them.
Bigger,
So
yeah.
This is probably more like 1/10, 1/12, something in that
Okay.
realm. But yeah, it's. I think the premium might be more like 1/6, or even that might be not that big, but not that small. But yeah, it's really, really cool. So yeah, I've just been messing around with that, books, and Horizon Forbidden West. That's been my week.
Got you, man. Jedi Kid, bro, what you been doing, man?
Yes,
what's up with
sir.
you, bro?
One, I just got a new grandson yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
his
man,
name is
congrats.
Hezekiah. Yeah, new
Congrats on
grandson.
that one, brother.
No doubt. So, he was born the other day, and I've been busy with that little joker. And then
Okay, got you.
I got in. I haven't read him yet, but I got in Hawk Immortal.
Yeah,
I got to read that, and I got in the Wolverine series.
yeah.
I got Remy in the closet. Haven't opened it yet. I finally opened my Nightwing. I got Flash, and I got the So Green Arrow the other day.
Nice.
Bro,
Yeah.
Those
I don't know
are
why I waited to open that Nightwing box, bro. That Nightwing,
Crazy, right?
that
Crazy, right?
I
Nightwing.
like that Nightwing is great. I
Dude.
like the Green Arrow more though.
Yeah.
Yo,
There's only
but I'm
one
having
thing
a
I
problem
don't
with
like.
the mask, though, dog. The mask
On
on
the
the Green
Green Arrow?
Arrow. Yeah,
Yeah.
I won't.
It's a royal pain, but the way I basically got it to stay is
Yeah.
I just rolled up a little piece of tape, and I just put
I
that
was
back there
thinking-
because
okay,
I'm
bet.
using the hood anyway. You can't
Yeah.
tell
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the back
yeah.
of the head, so I use
Yeah.
that. But I actually dig that. I mean, I like both of them, but I honestly
Yeah.
think that I like the. I mean, I think as far as So Toys goes, I think that Gambit is the best one they've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I actually do like the Green Arrow a little bit more than
Man, that Green Arrow figure is
The only thing that I'm really the only thing that I don't like about the Nightwing, I love the figure. Don't get me wrong, but the only thing I don't like about it is this: they didn't give it neck rotation at all. It's just
Yeah, just
straight.
a solid neck.
So you can't. It's just a solid neck. You can only turn it. Then you can't. You really can't do too much with it. So
I also wish they would have made the Velcro a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
It's not that strong.
Really easily.
It's not that strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, those are small gripes that you can work around.
Yeah,
The
you
figure
can get past
overall
Nobody else
is
was giving
dope.
us a Nightwing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can definitely
yeah,
get
yeah.
past that. You can get
Yeah,
past it. But
But I mean, that's it, man. That's it for me, bro.
Congrats,
That's
man.
getting
Cool,
in,
man.
Jedi
I gotta
Grandpa.
bust them books open.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a
Jedi
grandpa.
yeah.
I'm a
Right.
grandpa.
Yeah. Straight up, man. Well,
So-
congrats again, bro. Everybody out in the
Yeah,
chat is
yeah.
saying congrats as
No
well.
doubt.
I'm going to address them real quick, and then we're going to dive in. We got Ray C. Got my Nightwing today also. Congrats on that. Congratulations to Grandpa from Malika.
No doubt.
You know what? I hope I'm saying it right. Malika Mabane, or is it Malika?
I appreciate
You got to
it.
tell me how I say it. But thanks for that, bro. We
doubt.
got Darth Batman 81. Congrats. We got Ashley
Appreciate
Chase
it,
in the
appreciate
building. Josh Baker. Let's see. Latoya T is here. Thank you, baby. Tomorrow's her birthday, so happy early birthday, baby. Let me see here. Charlie the Unicorn. Amber May is in the building. Thank you for coming through. We got, let's see here. Jay Leon is in the building. Let's see. Collectible Chats is here. Two Ferns is in the building. Luminara 843. Thank you. Again, I say this on every show, but Luminara, thank you very much for the idea that you gave us on Friday, which is now going to be going forward the theme of Figure Flex Friday, where we actually give it to you. Everybody out there in the chat, you basically just hashtag Figure Flex Friday, and we will post your picture up on the screen, on the computer, and give you some shine, and you just flex. So that's, all that came from Luminar, so
I'm on that.
I have to thank her for that. Ray C, we got Maz's Toy Box in the building. Sup, Leia? What's going on, Maz? Thank you for coming through. We got the Ben Cave. We got Cameron Proctor in the building. Primetime Reviews, Xander, Charlie the Unicorn, Takathri, JP Noble, Renz Talentino, Two Ferns. Let's see who else we got in here. Yeah, Absolute Irwin is in the building, and yeah, I think we've covered everybody. So
Apparently
listen,
it's Malika.
Malika,
It says Malika.
Okay,
still
all
dope.
right, got you.
He's gonna do his damnedest. He's gonna do his
me
damnedest
bang.
to get it right from now on.
Malika
He's
me bang.
still gonna call Mia Maya.
Gotcha. So definitely,
Those three
yeah, I'm
letters just mess him up.
not changing that. Definitely not changing that. I'm gonna keep it hood.
That's it.
He's basically like, I'm giving the middle finger to your parents. I don't care what they pick for you. This is your name.
We got BMW 3 Lover in the building. Thank you for coming through. So yes. So yeah. So the topic of the night, man, like literally after we've actually got done addressing. Now before we jump into the topic, real quick, there's gonna be some changes, basically up and coming. Things are always basically changing. So there will be an eventual change to the all-around 1/6 scale man logo. So that's going to be changing going forward. I'm working on a couple of different things. Just too dull for me. I want something better. It's probably going to be the link. It's going to be a bit more vibrant. So just that, just to let everybody know. At the end of the show, we're going to actually be going over some recommendations. I know, Brendan, you had a couple of things that you wanted to kind of throw out there for people. So we'll actually get into that.
It'll just be like what to look out for in the next month or so. That books are coming from Marvel and things to be on the lookout for, paying attention to.
Got you. So we'll be jumping into that definitely by the end
also,
of the
I
show.
swear, I'm not high. I just really liked Mountain Dew and Munchos, and I had a craving. So
Classic weed hook up.
Got you. So, yeah. So I wanted to talk about, in the height of everything that's actually transpired, there's been a lot of speculations about the trailer. People have ideas of what they think is going to actually happen. But in the interest of any, I want to say this, everybody out in the chat, real quick. Do not. We are not. This is just trailer spoiler free. We're not spoiling anything about the trailer. So we're not going to mention anything in regards to the trailer. So please, people out there, no talk of the trailer if other people haven't seen it, don't want to see it. But instead, we're going to actually just go around that, and we're going to talk about multiversal threats. People who have, could be possible threats to the multiverse. who have the power to change everything, whether it's in a good way or the wrong way or a bad way, or to completely demolish everything. Now, when we think about it, it's like, think about your own life and any mistake that you basically make, anything. When you think about waking up in the morning, getting out of the bed, everything's by thread. So it's a path to how you're supposed to get to your destination. Everything was written. Just imagine if you woken up and you know, like when we basically have dreams, sometimes they say that your dream, or if you dream of a certain thing and they're in it, that is basically possibly that you're dreaming about the alternate version of yourself in a totally different realm. Like literally, they say that sometimes that could be the possibilities. And sometimes I believe it because like things take place that I'm like, wow, like this is strange because it's always in the same place, but it's always a different scenario and a different me. You know what I mean? So it's just really crazy. So imagine if all of that was disrupted and you actually felt, you know, what was going on, you know, in another spot with your alternative version. So this is basically your alternate version. So just imagine like if somebody could control that, like if somebody had the power to change everything about the entire spectrum, bro. Like one thing, what happens to one eventually happens to the other because that's just the scheme of things. That's just the way things work. But if somebody just had a chance to just change that. And so when we think of characters, bro, I mean, we'll go from the tip top. We think of Strange, okay? So we think of Doctor Strange. We think about, you know, the power he has as the Sorcerer Supreme. You know, the power that he basically has. And I'm going to bring this up first. So what we saw and what he actually did, and it's like we didn't really get a chance to talk about this, but what happened and everything that he actually did in No Way Home, everything that was done in No Way Home, every spell that was cast, even the spell in the end that was actually cast and manipulated, everything he did affects the multiverse, affects everything, and that's why there was caution because of it. I was even talking to Toya. I think I was talking to Toya, but we had a conversation. I was like, yo, when I go back to Endgame, right? And we see how Strange, you know, he went to every possible scenario that, you know, that could be used to defeat Thanos. And he only came up with one. And I was saying to myself, I was like, you know what? He hates Tony Stark, bro. Like literally, he hates him because how do we know that was only one scenario? How do we know?
Well, he
like,
said 1 out of 14 million. So I mean,
exactly. How do we know though? Like if you think about that, how do you know if it was just one scenario? There could have been more, but it was just one scenario that was used or utilized to defeat Thanos. You know what I mean?
Well, he said that's the only one that worked.
That wasn't his point though. It was the scenario where we win. So there could have been other scenarios where they beat Thanos, but something worse happened.
Yeah. But it was the one where we actually win, which was the sacrifice. I'm just saying, like in general, when I think about it, I was like, yo, he hates all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it was only one possible scenario that we could, you know, that could defeat Thanos. And it was that one scenario that was crazy. When I thought about it, I was like, wow.
There wasn't any other scenario where Robert Downey Jr. took less money to be in future films, so he had to go.
Right. But see, also, I think that's why he felt so connected to Peter in No Way Home, because he felt like that responsibility of trying to be like another figure for Peter because Tony was gone. So that's why he helped him out so easy with such a crazy spell. You feel me? Like that's why I think he was so comfortable helping him out with such a big spell that could ruin the universe. Because I think he felt kind of responsible for Tony.
It's a pretty big in and of itself, because he could have cast a spell that would have only affected our universes.
True.
As opposed to the multiverses, because what difference would it make if someone in another universe knew who Peter was?
True.
Yeah. And it's like I when we think about it and how it was actually done and how the multiverse in this film was fractured. We talked about it at the end of the film, you know, how even though they succeeded and you know, wound up achieving what the goal was, you know, number one, to make sure that, you know, not one character, you know, especially within their own universe, their own pocket universe, was murdered or killed, that there was a chance that they could be saved. They handled that, but at the same time, the multiverse was fractured. Things got in. things got in that weren't supposed to get in. You know what I mean? And we saw glimpses of things to come. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
all of that was
Fantastic
basically
Four.
there. Exactly. So when you think about it, this film, or going into the next film, in which we're not going to talk about, but I'm just talking about Strange in general, how powerful he really, really is. And that responsibility falls on his shoulder. And from what we know and we think about, it's like, all right, Strange is normally the person who has it all together. He normally is the person that we, say he makes the best, but he makes the best possible decision and based on what he thinks. But there's still a level of narcissism in him, bro. A high level of narcissism in him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That he thinks that he's the only one at that time that can protect the multiverse.
He's
The
a
only
magic
one that
version
can
of
make
Tony.
the proper decision for it. Even though he has individuals around him telling him like, yo, you can
Chill.
literally fuck shit up. Like chill out. Don't make this decision. Don't do this. You know what I mean? So, I mean, what do you like Vinny, what do you think? Like, do you think that, go
I
ahead.
think to your point about his arrogance to coming to fruition in No Way Home, where in Endgame, where he's made these decisions that affected not only this universe's, the MCU's universe, but multiverse, and then what we see in the future. I think it sets up beautifully the possibility of what we might see in a Secret Wars story, in which, when needing a host to gather the, all the different Beyonders that Molly Command will help, Doom contain to become God Doom. That responsibility was waived by Strange, and Doctor Doom even said like it was between one of us who were gonna take that responsibility. And in that moment, Strange was like, "I don't trust myself with that power. I'm gonna hand it to you, Doom." Despite the fact that Doom has done so much stuff in the comics in the past, Strange knows how much power he has. Mixed with that power, he doesn't completely believe in what he'll do with it. Won't be worse than what Doctor Doom wound up doing with it. But definitely, Doctor Doom's story is rise to who he became. It all is based on just a warranted level of narcissism and egomania. Of like he backed up everything that he said. And that's why the Ancient Ones wasn't worried about his powers so much as his restraint and what to do with it. And he's seen almost immediately he was worried about the forbidden section of text and going outside the breaking the rules at every chance he got because he was good enough to break the rules. One of my own mottos, know the rules so you can break them properly, and that's Doctor Strange. See, like he knows what he's capable of, and he'll go above and beyond it because he thinks, "Oh, I'm Strange, I can handle it." That is, I feel like we'll see a lot of in the future as of him having to live with that. Fallout of him playing with things that are above him, but yet also having the power to fix mistakes that only he, at this point in MCU, could have made. So we'll see. But then again, we might see him be wrong about that and maybe not be able to contain all the ramifications of the decisions that he's made. But that's the beauty of Doctor Strange. He's somebody who's incredibly ridiculously powerful, but also very, very ambiguously motivated. It's not always for the good of everybody. Sometimes it's Strange just doing whatever the fuck he wants because he can.
Because
and in that respect, it makes his character so interesting because most characters with that power level aren't human. A lot of them are mutants or aliens or mystical beings like that aren't humans. So it's very, very rare that someone is as powerful as Doctor Strange is without just being from just being a human being. Like this isn't a human being who was given a ring or a hammer or this is just him maximizing the capabilities of magic through a human being's peak brain performance. So you have the flaws of humanity that comes along with them.
And that's the thing is like that's the thing not to forget, that he is flawed based off of human conditioning. You
Yeah.
know, human conditioning in general. Like, we know that, you know, there have been people, because again, we have to also remember, I remember Chronicles of Supreme. I think it was the book where we got a chance to see other sorcerer supremes that helmed the power before him, but because of his humanity and the simple fact that he is flawed, and he basically made peace with that, is the reason why he was granted the level of sorcerer supreme. But at the same time, it's just like, yeah, it's that flaw. It's the simple fact
Yeah.
that we know he is flawed as a character, and that flaw which makes him human, but also that flaw that makes him terribly dangerous.
Yep.
Like, literally, I mean, dangerous because
Well,
attachment to a certain level of emotion, you know, having that much power, you know what I mean, knowing that you know, can manipulate the very fabric. You exist between timelines. You exist in a space, or are able to exist in a space where you're able to move almost damn near faster than time itself. You know what I mean? So knowing that you have this ability and this capability as an individual, you know, like we said, his humanity, we embrace it, but it's that same humanity that literally makes him dangerous to the multiverse. What do you think about that, Brendan? Or
I
I'm
mean,
sorry, Coolio.
when it when it comes to Strange, I mean, when it comes to most of the superheroes in comic books in general, but Marvel just specifically for tonight, it's the flaws, you know, like we've already kind of said, that make them more interesting as characters. So that it's not just like some, you know, like goody two shoes, and like, you know, we want there to be vulnerability, and flaws bring those vulnerabilities. It opens them up to the potential for defeat. But the other thing is, and I think this, we saw this in What If. We've seen it in What If comic books for decades, and we're seeing it now manifest in the Multiverse of Madness film, where that kind of, you know, the saying, like, one bad day, like everybody's one bad day away from being the villain.
the
And
Joker.
that's the case here. Yeah, and that's the case with Doctor Strange, with Iron Man. They have ego, and they are definitely flawed human beings, and they could be one decision away from taking the immense power that they have and either doing something unwittingly that causes harm, or deciding to just go full tilt villain and intentionally do harm. There's always that potential. There's always that possibility. The other thing about Doctor Strange, which I think is going to be explored more in the MCU, but is really, really highlighted in the most recent Death of Doctor Strange arc, is that the death of Doctor Strange, especially, and this is why I actually really enjoyed all the one shot like tie-ins. You know, the X-Men, Black Knight, White Fox, you know, Spider-Man. There were a bunch of Blade. There were a bunch of these tie-ins where you realize, oh my God, all of this stuff is going haywire now because Doctor
Strange is
Strange
gone.
died. He had all these magical safeguards in place, or he was doing all of these things while he was alive to keep at bay all these threats that nobody else even really knew about. And on the one hand, people were like, man, he was keeping our asses safe day in and day out from so much that we weren't even aware of. But then some other superheroes were kind of pissed that he didn't clue them in on certain things that he was keeping at bay, because he just kind of took it upon himself to be the protector, to be the one who is dealing with that, but with no one else knowing that you are, and you being at, you know, in the superhero biz where you could die any day. And then what happens like this just now is like, now, you know, the walls come crumbling down and all these threats come out that people weren't anticipating, they weren't ready for.
Yeah.
So there is that that level of ego that has a number of different potential threat vectors to, you know, to the comic book world when we're talking about the books, to the MCU, you know, when we're talking about these films. So yeah, I think there. But again, that's what makes the character so interesting because you're constantly analyzing their motivations, analyzing the possible outcomes, analyzing what kind of threats they might be intentionally or otherwise opening, the universe up to. And so, yeah, it opens so many possibilities, opens a lot of doors, and we've seen how many they've been able to explore in the comics. So, I'm really excited to see which doors they open in the MCU.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 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 I mean that's well said, bro. I mean, there's so many possibilities, but so many possibilities that I'm almost a damn near afraid of. Jedi Kid, comes to strange, bro. What do you think, man? Like, you know, with they always say that with power comes, great responsibility.
Mhm.
This man has a lot of responsibility on him, on
Mhm.
his shoulders in general.
Mhm.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
I want to start off my statement with a question, and I just thought about it at this particular moment. But I'm like, where's the TVA at? Where was the TVA when he made that decision to put everything back? Didn't he can become a variant
What do
Well,
you
he
mean?
wasn't messing with
technically?
time though. He
He was
Yeah,
wasn't
messing
messing
he
with
with,
wasn't.
time. He was messing with the
He
multiverse,
was
not the
wrestling with, yeah,
timeline.
yeah. It wasn't
but
the
their job
timeline
is to
itself.
cover a timeline and a multiverse.
Well, the job is to basically, because if they're messing with the TVA who deals with the time, because he's messing with the timeline,
Mm-hmm.
we know that there are alternate versions of each individual characters. There's variants, but those
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
variants exist in
Approved.
that timeline, and they have to carry
In their
out
separate
their
timeline.
destiny in that
Right.
timeline without making changes. You know
The
what I
Right.
mean?
TVA
Mm-hmm.
approves timeline, so there's alterations to the timeline we've seen in Marvel that the
Yeah,
TVA approved, which is why we never seen them because they approved it.
So
yeah,
this is
One,
probably one of the ones that they approved.
well, he didn't really change the timeline, but the other times you've seen him mess with the timeline, the TVA didn't have an issue with it. That's why what Kane was saying was it was the TVA approves a lot more than we realize. So there's an allotment of deviations to the timeline that they're okay with.
Mm-hmm.
It was low key shifting from what he was supposed to do that they had a problem with. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
so basically, they let everything go, and if there's something that they don't like, they'll flag it. So it doesn't mean you're
Mm-hmm.
not allowed to mess with the timeline. It means that you're only allowed to mess with the timeline as long as they're cool with it. And if they're not, it's kind of like you don't know you messed up unless you messed up and they weren't cool with it.
And
They
as
Because
let
long
it's
as it
like,
also, you got to remember, as long as it also still works toward the same outcome, the same end result
where
that
they
mm-hmm.
they
wanted
had
to
planned.
wind up.
Because, right,
Mm-hmm.
if Loki, like when he pieces out at the end
Yeah,
of Endgame, like when they're back in 2012. Well, if
Yeah.
Loki leaves, if he doesn't go back to Asgard to be imprisoned with Thor,
Thor.
then
Yeah.
everything that happens in the Dark World and
Gets
Ragnarok,
erased.
and then leads him
Mm-hmm.
into Infinity War and Endgame,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't happen, which means Thor doesn't go on the exact journey he's supposed to go on to
Mm-hmm.
be in
right.
the Infinity War and Endgame so that they can do what they need to do. So that's
Because
why
Which
they
is
needed
incredibly
to get
unfair.
him out of there.
Which is
because
incredibly
it was
unfair.
like I'm looking at it from the outside. Like Peter's whole life changed now, so that's like that deviated him from his timeline with Mary Jane and with
The same.
Well,
school and
no, it
everything
didn't deviate
else.
him from the timeline because in this universe that was like supposed to be his journey.
He
That's
didn't go
what was
back.
Well,
supposed to happen.
his journey
Yeah,
changed with as long
Yeah.
his relationship changed
Strange,
with Mary
Strange
Jane.
didn't Strange didn't rewind time till before Jonah Jameson made the announcement. He just
Yeah.
made everyone
Mm-hmm.
forget that he made the announcement in the first place. So that announcement
Yeah.
was
Right,
still made. He just made everyone have amnesia.
right,
Yeah.
right, 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 right.
Yeah.
And people will eventually remember, like Mary Jane will eventually remember Ned and all, will.
Yeah,
So
I think
this,
so
it's
too. Yeah.
basically look at it as everything that's happened, including people forgetting who Peter is, and then at some point,
Mm-hmm.
some of them like MJ remembering. That was
Mm-hmm.
all the way it was supposed to go. There was no alteration to the timeline.
Yeah.
That was just the progression of what was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Whereas Loki was pulling him out of that timeline, so
Out
that
of
all
the timeline to
things that needed
something
to
else.
happen subsequently wouldn't
Yeah.
have happened.
And which is
Right.
why we got the TVA,
The
because
TVA, yeah.
yeah,
which isn't fair.
So this was something that was allowed by them anyway. So okay, cool. It was allowed.
Which has
Okay.
just been Loki's honesty. Technically, the TVA should have punished the Avengers for putting the Cosmic Cube in Loki's reach.
In Loki's hand. Period.
Loki's just
Yeah.
Loki. You know what I mean? It wasn't his fault, but
yeah,
it made sense. That's what they had to do.
Well, no, but if you think about it though, the whole kind of thing, if the TVA to them, that the progression of that universe's timeline was supposed to be that the Avengers would travel back, would get the stones, and then would come back. The deviation, the variance there, it wasn't that they went back because they were supposed to go back, get the stones, and then beat Thanos and then return them. It was that Hulk accidentally, smashed, what's his name,
Yeah.
Iron Man, and then he got and he dropped the stone, the
cosmic
cube,
cube.
and then Loki picked it up. So the variant was just that Loki picked that up, not that they actually went back and time traveled.
I
So
got you.
But I mean,
That's
the thing is, this
interesting
is all
concept.
subjective rules of time travel and any type.
It's like
whether
it's so
Back to the
sensitive. It's
Future
such a
or anything,
sensitive
it's all crazy.
subject
It
with the
adds interesting
TVA
concept because
and the multiverse.
in reality, him being a part of the TVA and the variants and all that was technically in a way part of time too, because that was part of Kang's plan. So
Yeah.
I didn't mean
it's
to go
all-
off topic, but I was just thinking about that. Like, damn.
No,
Wait,
I
sure.
mean,
it all ties in, though,
time
because
travel and anything is always going to be crazy because the rules in this universe will be like the rules in the
different
MCU
from another
of time
universe.
travel are different than Back to the Future, are different than
Right.
Quantum Leap. It's like
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
kinds of
Yeah,
so
Different
you just kind of
variables of
basically
time travel.
they just figure out what they want to do plot wise,
Yeah.
and then come up with the justification.
it sums
around
it up this way. One particular character. Okay, so the TVA can allow certain things as long as that character. You may have one individual character that one step that they make affects everyone
Everything.
in a
Yeah, yeah.
timeline. Not
Yeah.
just it's just that particular.
Himself.
If you have one particular character that deviates, but they can see so far ahead that even stepping out of the timeline, the intent
mess
is to
everything
step
up.
out of the timeline for a particular reason, but back into your regular timeline where it doesn't affect, that can be allowed.
And
Whereas someone like when we're talking about Loki, his intent is to step completely out of the timeline to change his own destiny. But by doing that, he's really fucking up the timeline. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
creating
yeah,
variants, which he
And you got to
did.
remember something that that Ray C pointed out in the chat, very good, is that the TVA, when we were watching the show, Loki, was run by the one who remains, right? But
Yeah.
the TVA at the end of the show
They're run by
is
Kang.
run by Kang because everything got
Exactly my
fucked up.
point. It's like that's why I'm saying like he's picking and choosing what timeline. So Loki,
What to
doing what
mess
he did.
with.
Right.
But
And so if
it
we're
was-
talking about like why isn't the TVA
Power.
getting involved in certain stuff right now,
Because
whether it's
it's
Doctor
not-
Strange, it's like, well, this is the different TVA than the one that was in the show because now shit is
Oh,
being run
damn.
by
You know
Kang.
what? I didn't think about that, Brendan. You're right. Damn.
The show is gone. So
And he's got his own designs.
If it was a
for the
regular
MCU for
TVA,
this phase.
if it was a regular TV, they probably would have said
they
something.
might have come
did
in.
something with
I don't
Strange.
know.
Maybe.
But like
So-
Kang, this
Yeah.
is what he's
it's all
orchestrating.
because the
Right.
time,
I forgot about that. It changed at the end. I forgot. Yep.
time and messing with reality, they're like cousins to each other. So it's all
Yeah. So now I'm bringing up another. Now this is a character that a lot of you won't really know. A lot of you will know. Okay, so I'm just bouncing around here, but this is a character, like I said, a lot of you don't know, but some will know. But he's interesting because he controls the very thread of reality, which that can manipulate different timelines. If you don't know this guy, you'll know him now. And we're talking about Jamie Braddock.
Yep.
Oh, Braddock.
He is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
brother of Betsy Braddock, who is known right now as, who we know, as Psylocke. He
Well, it depends on when you're talking about.
when you but
because
in a,
she could either be Captain Britain and then
Captain Britain, yeah.
one on be Psylocke. or,
we're talking about before. We're talking about Betsy. So we're talking about Betsy Braddock when she's Betsy, not when she becomes
Captain
the other
Britain.
version. This is So this is what we're talking about. But in this essence, this individual, no matter who she's basically he's tied to at that moment, is completely dangerous because number one, he's schizo in a sense. You know what I mean? And if he's not contained, if he's not contained, this individual literally, can fuck up the very fabric of the multiverse just by because he a perfect example of what this person can do. And what you can associate it with. If you've ever seen the movie Adjustment Bureau, that's him.
Oh yeah, classic. Oh yeah, he could do that. Yeah, I forgot, bro.
That's him.
Nobody talks about him, bro.
He was dead up until a couple of years ago when they brought him back at the beginning of the Krakoa kind of everything, and none of his
nobody
family
talks
were happy
about
to
him,
see
man.
him. They were all like, "Oh, you're back!
You're back."
They all wanted him to stay dead.
Yeah, because he's literally, he's extremely dangerous. One of the most dangerous out there if he's not held in check.
Yo, tell me that the art here, he doesn't look a little bit like the swordsman from Hawkeye. The actor who played it. Like, tell me that.
Oh, he definitely does.
Yep,
but he's with this individual, with this guy. Again, another threat to the multiverse. But at the same time, he's experienced what actually I think kept him alive is that because he's experienced death time and time again, and each time he's come back, he's a bit more deranged and a bit more crazier. But is he? Because here's the thing: is there's been multiple versions of himself. This guy is he's so powerful, like literally. Oh, he's simply an Omega level threat. I mean, dangerous, but in his own right, he deals with the situation. Whereas he thinks that everything he's doing, like most people, most what we want to call villains, everything that he's doing is completely okay. Like it's right and it's for the benefit. You know what I mean? But another character who really, really, really can mess with the fabric of the I hope, literally, he's the one character that I do not want them to bring into the MCU at all. Like I don't.
If they don't bring him in with Betsy or Brian, then
it's not going to work.
Like you have to bring him in with at least one, if not both of those.
But if they do that, here's the thing. But do they though? Because the thing is, we didn't know anything. Well, put it this way: we had no idea. We knew about Captain Britain. We knew about Betsy. He didn't actually show up, and he literally himself didn't show up until I think it was like issue number 7 of Captain Britain, which is a story that took place after we were even introduced to Betsy. You know what I mean? So we didn't know anything about it. So the thing is, he's a character could have, because it's just the majority of the focus that we've known so far has been on Betsy and her brother. You know what I mean? So it was just basically them two. Jamie came in later on, and he was actually introduced because he was pulled. It was a memory that was pulled out of Psylocke at the time.
Yeah.
And once that memory was manifested, then he used it as a weapon.
You've got a lot more breathing room in the books
without having Psylocke. You can't have him without having Psylocke.
Like you can, but if
they'll condense it, and they'll have to either have Captain Britain or Psylocke in there for people to really kind of give a shit about him, or like for non-comic book heads to really like. I don't see them bringing him in unless it's tied to
way more dangerous than the
those two
man,
characters. So the odds of him coming into the MCU, I feel like are pretty low.
Yeah,
because he's a big character, bro. He's like TVA big. So
he's very easy to scale. His power comes from the crazier he is, the more effective his weapon powers are. So at base level, before they really start making him, they can make him just kind of eclectic, and then with powers reality capable, like he would be able to change that lamp into a car that he needs to get away, whatever, something simple. But the crazier and more times he comes back, and more he loses his mind, the more he's able to say, okay, this lamp is now in Earth 2. The crazier he is, the more his powers become. So they don't have to necessarily jump to him able to create alternate universes yet.
With his power set, would that annoy fans that don't know the character? You see what I'm saying? He can always get away. He can always, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't know him from the books.
But the problem is, as powerful as he is, he leaves breadcrumbs, bro. He leaves breadcrumbs, and he's not really a self-contained character where he has it all together. There's ways to basically contain him and defeat him. Put it this way, it's best that he stays deranged, because if he had it all together and he was smart and diabolical, nothing would exist. Literally. You know what I mean?
True.
So he can be contained because he leaves breadcrumbs. He's just more crazier. Like to now where he basically was one where he created an entire utopia, psychedelic. That's why he's always butt ass naked, because he basically like he's the original. But you know what? No. So they let them bring him in because So if they bring him in, Brendan, you're gonna audition, literally.
Yeah, he's an OG.
You'll audition. You'll just audition for him.
Okay,
You'll audition.
Honestly, I don't. If he's the type of character, I think he's. Actually, it's funny because he looks like the actor in this.
He does, bro.
I think he's like the swordsman. I don't think you see him introduced on the big screen. I think if they were, and I don't think they're going to. I genuinely don't. But if they were
not
to
without
introduce him in the MCU, I think it would be on a Disney Plus show. That's the kind of character that I think they would. I'm not trying to minimize like how messed up he can be and the damage he can cause and stuff like that. But just the nature of the character, if he were to be introduced, I think it would be on a smaller project. I don't think it would be a main focal point. I think he would be somebody who's introduced and kind of dealt with in like a 6 or 8 episode Disney Plus season.
Small dosage.
Yeah, I haven't heard about him in a while, bro. Like a couple years. I don't even look for him no more in the comics.
Yeah.
I mean, his biggest thing was when he came back to life on Krakoa, in the early kind of Hickman's, when they first set up the nation state of Krakoa, the mutant country. So, like, that's when he was brought back through their, like, resurrection system. That was the, and he came back and he was naked. But yeah, that's like, because he was just kind of dead, like, out of sight, out of
sight for a minute.
While.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this next character, he might even be like the self-proclaimed. I want to call him, like, now the way he has been initiated in the books. You can almost call him like the self-proclaimed Jesus. you can like, real quick to answer this question, is he more powerful? I guess he's talking about Jamie Braddock. Is he more powerful than the Molecule Man?
I think Molecule Man is more powerful.
Molecule Man, no.
Molecule is more powerful. And then
not Molecule is
Omega level. Yes, he is Omega level, but Molecule Man is a whole nother problem.
He's a whole nother problem. He's a whole nother problem that you don't want to leave
unchecked. Somebody that can attack your
whole
whole makeup as a being. Like, it's a whole nother level of.
When you get to those kinds of things, I mean, obviously it's fucking comic books. This is all subjective and us just making shit up. That's the fun of it. But if we're talking about like two characters like that, ultimately it's like you can go back and forth and be like, oh well, this one could do this or this one could do this, but ultimately both of them are Omega level, meaning no measurable upper limit to their
for
power
the threat
set
for either one of them
could end the world. So in that respect, it's like, I mean, it's not like it's going to be one's here and one's here. It's like, I mean, you're talking like this,
When it comes to two characters with such similar powers, no upper limit, what like geeks like actually do is just look at.
It comes down to circumstance at that point.
It comes down to also feats and things like
that. That's where the stats come in.
And stats and feats, and Molecule Man has done way more things in different stories and has way more in his resume than Braddock said.
Yeah. So the next one, again, I wanted to. I just call him the X-Men Jesus. Of course, is Nathan.
X-Man.
Our guy Nathan.
The X-Man.
He's
a big beast, bro.
He's such a douche.
But so powerful.
Yes.
I mean, but
when you got a power scale
powerful
like that, though, bro, you could
He's
be.
Also crazy as a bag of squirrels.
Yeah, like he has a room bigger than Vinny's. Like that's how big.
Also, they gotta rethink the art on the left side there, because I mean that kind of looks like the fucking Nazi salute. Like
Yeah.
that's like
Oh, with
maybe
him throwing
rethink
his hand
that
out like that. Yeah.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
Um,
rethink that
He's got a
one.
Nazi
Yeah.
haircut and everything, huh?
But this
But
guy, on a large scale, literally, has been proven,
Yeah, he's a
to be
beast.
a problem. He's a problem. He's a major problem, and a very a known threat to the multiverse. Where
I have his first
his
book,
beliefs, based on the iteration that we got, his beliefs is that the mutant landscape is, and to his degree, which in certain levels he's right, but on a certain level he basically believes that the mutant landscape is the evolution of man, and that it needs to evolve to the point where he was all for mutation of man and actually discovering their abilities, or actually believing that there was a hidden gene, and unless it was sort of like a reverse type of apocalypse thought. It wasn't survival of the fittest. It was just whether or not
You could survive.
you not could survive, or if you were can prove yourself to exist amongst mutant, and if you were worthy at that time of being so we're talking about that, but it was for the preservation of mutant kind, and but at the same time his power scale, omega
X-Man's
level,
off the
another
charts.
omega
X-Man's
level,
off the charts,
but
bro.
I mean,
yeah,
completely
omega
warped
level, but an
reality.
omega level character that is really a threat, a known threat to the multiverse, man. Like literally, like how many times can you say it? Like, I mean, and this is we're talking now. We're going through. I'm just going through these individuals one by one. I didn't get to the heavy hitters. I got through one of the heavy hitters, but this guy is heavy. You know what I mean?
The
Like,
whole Age of Apocalypse and just everything
Yeah.
that this guy is capable of,
Yeah.
both consciously and
subconsciously,
unknowingly. Like that's the thing. His danger,
yeah,
like we kind of talked about with some others of like making mistakes and stuff. His danger comes both from things that he does on purpose and then shit that he doesn't even realize he's doing because he's batshit crazy.
Man,
Yeah.
Gene and Scott's kids, bro. I don't understand them, boy. They are just
At some point, you got to be like, hey, how about you just adopt?
just adopt
Like, how
about
because
just,
your
like, wear
kids are
rubber
off
and adopt?
off the chain, bro.
Yeah.
Both of them boys, man. Cable
yeah,
too.
yeah. But
What
I
do you
mean,
think, you're
it's
Coolio? Come on.
it's genetics. It's like genetically they're prone to make these kids. Like, I mean,
Crazy,
literally
bro.
genetically, their kids are devastating.
Freaks of nature, bro. All of them.
Exactly.
I
But
mean,
this,
you look at like the iterations of Cable. You look at Rachel. You look at like, man, it's just like you gotta pump the brakes on that.
yeah, yeah. And Rachel Summers, who's
I mean, great characters and
Yeah.
they do a lot of good,
yeah,
but they rack up a body count while doing it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's-
Especially
it's still
Cable. Way ruthless.
His
So-
telepathy is on par with Phoenix Force Gene. Like he can
Mhm.
yeah,
cancel that.
That's his
people-
mama. He should have it.
and the stuff is just off the wall. Even stronger
yeah.
path and like the true epitome of a mega mutant.
He's an
Yeah.
X-Men Jesus.
Bro, anytime you have the ability to be imbued by the Phoenix Force, yet you deny it and say that there are bigger things than that.
I don't need it.
Like literally,
Pretty much,
like
I don't need it.
like he's like, yeah.
I'm
there's-
good.
there's-
Especially when you look at all of the people that they just had battling for the Phoenix Force to
Yeah.
get the Phoenix Force.
The Phoenix Force has wiped
This
out
guy's like, no,
universes,
no.
bro.
Into the Dragon
Yeah.
turned for the Phoenix Force. And,
I mean,
Yeah.
some of the people that were
He's
in
like,
that,
nah,
like,
I'm good.
some of the people that were fighting in that, like Cap, for example, he didn't want it for himself, but he wanted to make sure that other people like Namor, for example, didn't get it because that would have
Yeah.
been worse. Wolverine didn't want it. He hated it. He didn't want it more than anybody. But he wanted to prevent other people that were worse from getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this guy, he's like, I'm okay.
I'm
bad enough without it.
I'm
I don't
good.
Need it.
I can do shit on my own. I don't need
I'm
you.
good. Like I
Like,
really
it was-
don't need it. Like
That wasn't like a moral thing. That was like, I'm as strong as you are now. I don't need you. Like
I'm
fuck
good. Like I'm literally good. I really don't need it. Like literally, which makes him dangerous, bro.
Yeah.
Like literally,
Listen.
it does.
Gene and Scott, and then the Richards, they don't need to make no more kids, bro. These two families are just like, their kids are like they come out Omega, bro.
Yeah. Like they got. It's like one of those things. You be like, y'all got good genes. You'd be like, well, y'all, your genes.
We got great genes.
Yeah, you might
See,
want to
that's
chill
what
out.
happens when these families in comics, they don't make an O face when they conceive, they make an Omega face when they conceive, and then you just get some serious threats. Like they got to just stop popping out babies.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
dangerous.
yeah. This guy is a whole new level of danger. Like
They got to
danger
bring
on a
him in
scale.
somehow, man, to the MCU, bro. I would love to see
I
him
would
in the
love
MCU
it,
level,
but you
bro.
gotta lay the groundwork, and we know from the last 10 years
They can't
now
just throw him
that
out
Kevin
there.
Feige is not gonna rush anything.
whole thing
He's
is
gonna
always
take his
power.
time and build the universe,
Mhm.
and that means that somebody like, I mean, this guy is perfectly possible to happen.
Mhm.
But they've got to establish Scott and Jean first.
First, yeah.
And
I
you have
agree.
someone, if you have someone as strong as the Phoenix Force, before you even do the Phoenix Force right, you have a power scaling problem. You have to.
Mhm.
It takes away from how powerful he is when you haven't established a slew of other characters ramping up to that power level. Otherwise, then when you do X-Men and then later you want to do Chamber, then it's like, okay, he can't do none of that.
Now that's
Yeah,
not to
yeah.
say that we couldn't see a character like him, for example, at some point in the next couple of years, if they're like doing kind of like a dream sequence or like a time travel kind of flash forward type thing, where it's like this is in the future and we get a glimpse of how powerful they are because of what we're about to see in the present day with Scott, Jean, the Phoenix Force, Cable, like stuff
Yeah.
like that, then we could see like glimpses of them. But as far as them being fully fleshed out to the point where like he's like the main antagonist in an entire film or something, I don't think I think we honestly, I think we need I think that's probably like 7 years, 10 years out. Like, and they're planning the MCU like into the 2030s, so we know that stuff like that could be coming. But it's not. I mean, we haven't even officially gotten the X-Men into the MCU yet, so he's one of those that we're just gonna have to wait a little bit for.
It's for the same reason you don't want Thanos in your first Avengers film. You got to build to that.
Yeah.
Well, technically, we did have Thanos in our first Avengers.
At the end.
The post credits. Yeah, but yeah, I get what you
post-credit.
mean. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But that was good because it laid the groundwork, and that's something that, as psyched as we are to get to certain things, we're lucky that somebody like Kevin Feige is guiding this, and that he's not rushing stuff. That he's taking the time to do things.
They're very concerned with how much everything makes sense within the world. For instance,
exactly.
Scarlet Witch was as powerful as we expected her to be.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have needed anyone else in any of those movies.
I mean, Age of Ultron and everything that happened in that it's like you couldn't. Bottom line is, if she was powered up to the level that we know she can be, and that she's approaching,
She could have erased everybody,
then
bro.
Civil War would have been like a 5-minute YouTube video. It wouldn't have been. There would have been no movie. She would have just like everybody. No, you all sit down. The adults are talking now, and that's what I mean. So like. But this is, again, that's why. And people were complaining, like, early on, be like, oh, my God, she's nowhere near as powerful as she's supposed to be. It's like, now you look at her and it's like, okay, we gotta be patient. And basically look at it the way that, again, not that we always want to go, super hard negative on DC. But if you look at, how long they took to build up to that very first Avengers movie, and then how long they expanded that for the whole Infinity Saga, versus the DC trying to introduce main members of the Justice League in the Justice League movie and not building up to them. That was the issue. So we have to be thankful that Kevin Feige is slow playing it in the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, and One Power Man, you said X-Men is more of a 15-year MCU schedule.
Absolutely.
You're absolutely right, because he's a bigger character, and that's the thing is, when you get into the X-Men, when we're talking X-Men, we're talking about that's a separate thing from just an Avenger level and just basically that arena. And I think that's where Kevin Feige is going. He knows how big of a playground that the X-Men carry. So it's like to introduce them into an Avenger level type of city. Nah, they need their own. They need a division themselves before you actually introduce something like that. But which brings me to one of the craziest mofos out there. Even the show was on insane, but I loved it. And that's our guy, Legion.
Oh, Legion.
Yes.
What a weirdo he is. Freaking weirdo, boy. It's a good show, though.
What were you saying, Vinny?
I try to put so many people onto the show, and I always had to like have a disclaimer. I'm like, just whatever you think about TV and movies and books and stuff, just like try not to think about that. Just pretend you're at an art gallery and you're looking at all abstract shit. Just open your mind, and that's really what the show was like. It was just a beautiful art take on the medium. And before WandaVision, there was nothing quite like it until other than Legion. And Legion was a perfect example of how the philosophical like ramifications of someone with his level of power and the different things that you'd be able to manipulate on screen when you have someone who has a different power set for each personality, and then you have an almost infinite number of personalities, and then some of them have in and of itself powers that rival damn near every other human. And then put that in the mind of a mind that's being attacked by a villain whose mental powers are on par with Xavier's, and you have a really fucked up character,
Shadow King, bro.
A really fucked up character with a really fucked up premise, and this is another character where you would need years of building a normalcy and a base foundation of world building before you could tear it all up with someone like this character. Like it wouldn't have the same effect if you introduce a Legion to an X-Men world that wasn't quite ready for him, and it would take away from the weight of what he's capable of. And that's why in his show you didn't see many other X-Men, or they kept it pretty much all contained to what he has going on in his head, because that was enough. And within
that's why I think it's he's one of the least likely to come into the MCU, just because they'd have to do it within the context of what's already there, plus what they're bringing in with mutants that we haven't seen yet. So I love the character of Legion. I think FX did a really good job with that show, because it's not an easy character. And you think about it, there's so many ways they could have screwed that up.
Yeah.
Especially with how kind of crazy, off the walls the Fox X-Men universe was to begin with, right? But yeah, it's a great character that I highly recommend people explore that show and explore in the books.
Yeah.
I would probably give this at like a 1% of seeing him in the MCU. At least not, because again, you got to establish, whatever.
You got to definitely build up to
Xavier is going to be
Legion.
our long term. You've got to establish those things before, similar to Nate, right? Or Nathan, you've got to establish Jean and Scott. You've got to establish Charles Xavier before we really get a Legion that I think will resonate with MCU fans.
Yeah.
And a lot of my favorite covers, like Legion's covers, were just so
awful, crazy. Yes.
Yeah.
Everything coming out of his head, his mind is always all over.
Crazy, brilliant covers, which kind of like summarize just how batshit crazy
it is. Yeah,
it was like you never knew what was real or what isn't, and that comes with the territory with these reality warpers and with power scales of that level, and when you deal with schizophrenic characters too, where you never know what's what, and also where the writer plays with the power level of that character to the degree where he messes with the fourth wall and the reader in on the character, so you don't even know what's going on, just like the character might not.
Yes,
definitely one of the great characters.
Yeah, definitely. Max Geekdom, yes. The answer is yes. I do believe we will. So just be prepared. It's going to take a while. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a while, but yes, we will eventually. We'll see it. We'll see it in some iteration. We're going to see it in some iteration of it. It's going to be an iteration, but we will see
it. It could be, again, because you remember a big event that we've got coming up this summer in Marvel Comics is Avengers versus X-Men versus Eternals. And we just got the Eternals in the MCU, and we're going to be getting the X-Men, and there's going to be a lot of conflict over a great many things that are going to be happening. So it's entirely possible that that's a precursor to what we see in the MCU, and that there's something involving mutants and Eternals and whatever iteration of the Avengers that we have in the next couple of years. And so you're right. I don't think we get a direct adaptation of the
characters will be
AVX comic
changed.
book storyline that we had in recent years, just because, again, central to that is the establishment of the mutants and the plight that they've had over decades in the comic books, but then also the journey that Cyclops goes on to become the leader of the X-Men, and the way that he is in that helps to facilitate that conflict, right? And if you don't have Cyclops well established, then that specific version of that war doesn't work. But they can do something different that is Avengers, X-Men, and Eternals that centers around something more germane to the current MCU. So I do agree that could likely happen.
Yeah, and AVX played up huge on the different ways that the X-Men have like fumbled having the Phoenix Force before, where the Avengers were like, all right, enough is enough. I know that's your, territory, and we usually stay out of your business, but like now we need to step in because y'all keep fucking up. And then it also downplays the different types of Cyclops changing to his without the weight of that history, it does take away from it. But at the same time, just like Civil War, they could tweak it to make it their own. Feige recently was like in big news the other day saying there won't be any more Avengers movies, but there's nothing to say.
I don't believe that.
But it just could be like smoke and mirrors. Oh, it's not called Avengers 5, it's called Avengers versus X-Men.
AVX. Yeah, exactly. I think AVX. I don't think they'll necessarily call them
Avengers versus X-Men.
Right.
Yeah,
it'll be
AVX.
Necessarily call it like Avengers, Age of Ultron, Infinity War. Like, I think it'll just basically be called like I think it'll be called like whatever the arc is, like Civil War, like Secret Wars. It'll be something like that, or it might be 2 movies or a trilogy or something that kind of brings everything together at the end of a phase.
With 2 or 3 characters together.
It's not called Avengers. It's just called whatever the arc is.
I think
that's it.
That is, it takes it away from, if it's not the Avengers, it's not a marquee build-to film. So, so if it's the coming of Galactus, that could still have the Avengers in it, but it could mean that this might have Fantastic Four and X-Men and everybody in it without it being, it's not Avengers movie, so it's not big.
Yeah. Think about the big arcs and crossover events that we've had.
Shadow
Reign right now, Fear Itself,
Secret
all of that stuff. Yeah, exactly. So I think that when he was saying that, I think it was more kind of like, look, in this universe, in the MCU, those were our core. Those were our Avengers. That was our home team. And now that they're done, we're still going to have iterations of the team, but the Avengers title was reserved for those movies, and now these are going to be whatever this arc is. That's
Civil War,
the name of the film is going to be.
I think what he's doing, what Kevin Feige doing, he's basically setting grounds for you to understand what's about to happen before it does. And I'm telling you, with this Doctor Strange film, a lot is going to happen. He has to set precedents that look, this realm, the way you know it, is about to completely change. Things that you didn't know are going to happen, and it's going to completely change the spectrum. And that's, I think, why he basically mentioned that, where it's not going to be just centered around the Avengers. We're going into a wholly different, and I'm cool with that. I'm good with that.
Isn't centered just around the Avengers.
Yeah.
Stop what you're doing Fantastic Four story, or stop what you're doing X-Men story. This leaves the playing field into the big movie that they built to won't necessarily be Avengers : Civil War. Now it'll just be Civil War.
Just bring T'Challa back. Just bring him back.
Yeah.
Recast T'Challa. Next reality warper.
Just bring him back. Put him on the Illuminati Council.
Oh yeah.
He was on there anyway, so let's bring him back.
Jason, shh.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The guy above you, man.
Oh, my bad. Oh. My bad.
I'm zoning out. I didn't even hear what you said. I'm good.
Okay, bet.
Yeah, just yeah. We'll just leave that.
My bad.
Definitely leave that where it's at. Which okay, so which basically brings me to
Shit.
the one we know, the one we love, the one is the most feared and pretty much the most fractured, as we basically know it already.
Wanda.
Yeah, you
Wanda
already
or
know.
Franklin? Okay.
Definitely Wanda.
I'm going to Wanda because she definitely is the most fractured right
She's
now.
so this poor baby. I feel bad for her, bro.
Because the thing is, when you think about her character, it's like people when we talk about Wanda, and we even talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or not the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but even I'll go with the comics first.
Yeah.
Like people wonder, they're like, it's like there are so many odds against her as an individual, who simply, again, if she's her biggest threat is how huge her heart is and how hard she loves. You know what I mean? That's the biggest problem. And because of that, she is so misunderstood. Like people like, okay, yes, she's a threat, but has anybody actually just sat down? You know what I mean? It just
And talk to her, bro.
Yo, let's have a talk. You just tell me everything. You tell me how you feel. Like literally, you tell me how you feel instead of just saying, "Oh, we just want to kill you off the bat." Just like, yo, ask her how she feels first.
Right.
You know what I mean? Get to know her as a character, because I think here's the thing. It's like we've known that there are so many more threats, so many other individuals out there. This is someone within your backyard who you have a chance to sit down and have a conversation with, but understand that she's lost so much. She's lost her family. She's lost, well, in the books, she's lost her brother so many times, but he's been brought back. We already know how that is. You know what I mean? But at the same time, she's, her children, watching them stripped away from her, you know what I mean, at one point by Mephisto. And then them coming back, watching Vision die, in a narration, him coming back. She died. She lost her mind at one point and came back, creating, a utopian world where there's more superheroes and everybody just lives out their dreams the way they want. Like literally, this female, like this character, Wanda, your heart goes out for her. And it's sort of like she's that animal trapped in the corner. It's like, of course she's going to attack because you keep pushing her. But at the same time, it's like, yo, I also understand. Like, listen, we always talk about how Xavier, has put those blocks on Jean. Like, whereas her powers are pretty much, dampered, or he keeps her in check. And at so many times he has, like, his focus all, throughout the Marvel comics has been on Jean. But you knew and understood how much of a threat Wanda was. But you leave that up to her family? You leave that up to Magneto? Are you insane?
Of all people,
like, are you literally insane? Like, literally, like, yeah. Like, are you literally insane? Like, if you think about it, this poor girl, bro, like, literally
broken,
is completely broken, bro. Is broken. And no one, it's just, but she is powerful as shit. She'll fuck shit up. Like, literally. And I'm so glad, like, Vinny,
erase everything.
I remember, Vinny, when we were watching, Endgame. And it was like we saw for so many years how muted her powers were. But seeing what she could actually do
with just telekinesis.
With just her telekinesis, just to basically see what she can actually do in that film was like, okay, I think Kevin Feige is starting to get it. Well, he gets it, but he's just showing us where he was going. And then when we got WandaVision, I'm like, okay.
WandaVision's so amazing for us, Scarlet Witch fans who were just dying to see that other part of her. And like, we knew that it would be difficult for them to tap into that other part of her, but the way that they did it made so much sense in the storytelling aspect. I mean, it was her part of her appeal to so many comic book readers is the psychosis part of her story. How she deals with grief and drama. It's been
Grief, yeah.
for many years. I mean, if ever there needed to be someone who's a mutant, it's Dr. Phil, so he could like talk to her and like get her on a show, sit
You
down.
got Hank. We got
You know what I
McCoy.
mean? Like she definitely needs some counseling. That's for sure. And
Anybody in the chat
But
that's
see-
watching that likes that remembers How I Met Your Mother, she's up here on the crazy hot scale.
Dude,
yeah.
bro.
So seeing everything, her journey and what she went through, and knowing how much even more fucked up it is in the comics, it just made so much sense, sequentially for her to build to that level, because it didn't come out of nowhere. It came out of a lot of buildup. So I do like that they just tweaked her story so that way it was something that was untapped, that she had buried in her psychosis, as opposed to something that she's been able to do the whole time, just kept it in check. So it made it even more interesting. As long as if they had never done it, then I'd be critical of it. But if it just was a wait to get there, I'm cool.
But see, that was the first time in any film that we had saw, when the last two films anyway, but that was the only point in that film that we saw Thanos generally scared, bro.
Yeah.
Like, she was about to kill him, dog. He was like, yo, just shoot everything. I don't care. But our men, he was like, fuck it, just shoot everything. I don't care who's around.
And think about it.
This girl's about to kill me.
That was before she really leveled up. Right?
Yeah.
Like, imagine what she was like in WandaVision, and imagine what she's going to be like in this next flick, right? In the Multiverse of Madness. You're talking about that Wanda against Thanos when she was ready to just wipe him like from the face of the earth.
And he wasn't even phased on even Captain Marvel, bro. He was more phased on Wanda than the other Avengers, dog. He was generally afraid. I'm like, wow,
which adds to the weight of his unpreparedness in Endgame versus Infinity War, where he knew all the chess.
He knew what to do, right?
Where in Endgame,
Thanos in Infinity War
Leroy Jenkins. Endgame,
he went in blind. He went in blind and cocky.
He did. Chess.
In
Endgame, he was playing checkers.
Yeah, Endgame, he went in blind and unprepared.
He just thought that he had.
Right.
He thought he's like, oh,
he had the advantage.
I in the future I accomplished what I needed.
Right.
But this is just me skipping a step and being able to jump the gun and do it faster. But I'm still more powerful than these guys, so I don't need to be cautious. I can just go in. Whereas he was much more methodical, and that's why Infinity War was Thanos' movie. Like,
dude, to see Wanda kick his ass like that, bro.
Yeah,
I was satisfied, bro.
Four of those films was no shortcuts, because he definitely was so much smarter and more methodical. It definitely explains why that there was two such drastically different outcomes. Because a Thanos in Infinity War, knowing what Wanda's capable of, would have completely different. When he gave her, he went to fought her head to head.
Yeah, and instead in Endgame, he was emboldened by the fact that he realized, oh wait, I won. So let me just jump the line, and I'm just gonna do it now instead of wait.
He's dealing with a Wanda who literally has nothing to lose at this point.
Nothing to lose,
and cares less about anything.
He has reality powers too. He wasn't using the stones like
he didn't care.
He's all intellectual.
And think about it though, Wanda with nothing to lose is dangerous.
Is a beast. Yeah. Is a beast.
But Wanda now, who has lost even more
everything
and has the power to potentially get it back, is more dangerous.
Yeah, yeah. Because like I said, she's If you look at it, it's a simple fact that again, she's lost the love of her life 2 times over,
and her kids, bro,
and her kids. Again,
she thinks that she can get them back,
and now she thinks that she can get them back. You know what I mean?
Reading that dark hole got her like that. The dark hole got her mind messed up.
She was just a threat to like Thanos and maybe like hurting somebody in the general vicinity of a battle. Now she can literally just tear the world apart, and there's every possibility that she does based on how wrapped up in her emotions she is.
Yeah, definitely. Vinny will be back. His laptop died. He'll basically jump back in. But Wanda is like literally untethered. I mean, that's untethered power. That's just someone who at any given time, we already know. what she's capable of doing and what she actually has done. And that's why I have my theories. And I can't wait until, we get closer to the film. I can't wait to after the film just to see if those theories, basically play out. You know what I mean?
Too much longer.
Because see, in the film, she's
know,
top
I
tier.
know.
She's top tier Wanda now. She's been reading the Darkhold the whole time while she's been up in the mountains and everything. She's top tier Wanda now, bro. Like
we basically have we've got a bottom level for as far the minimum that we think that she's powered to.
She's gonna do.
But as far as the ceiling and what she really elevates to in this movie, we have no idea.
Yeah.
We don't
It's
know
crazy.
if they're good. Like, is she's gonna be here? If she's gonna be here, it all depends on where they're going. We just know that whatever it is, it's like it's starting.
Yeah.
Above the biggest threats that we've seen to date.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that seeing that fear on Thanos' face, bro. That made my movie because I got to see Wanda almost where she needs to be as far as her power scale. And then after that fight, Captain Marvel comes along and he's not even really fazed by her, bro. He smacks her with the gauntlet, doesn't he? Yeah, he smacked her with it. Like,
well, no,
he smacked her with the power stone.
With the power stone,
Yeah, he has a moment where he's scared by her too because he headbutts her and she just looks at him like, "What the fuck was that?" And that's why he takes the stone to hit her. Anybody else who wouldn't have taken the stone, he would have just thrown the punch by himself. He realized, oh wait, without the stone,
she's on my level.
She's on my level or higher, so I need the stone. So there were two moments where he was legitimately like either scared or just like shocked and taken aback.
Yeah, I think he was more shocked with Marvel.
And when Captain Marvel took that headbutt,
because Wanda was fear, bro. Wanda was fear, but Marvel I think was more shock.
Yeah, Wanda was fear, but I mean, just imagine, and that's what I'm saying. Like, imagine the Wanda we would have seen had she been on the level that she's at right now.
Oh my God!
Imagine the Wanda it would have been.
It would have
been a different fight. Thanos wouldn't have fought Wanda the way we seen her fight him.
Bro, Wanda would have killed him and blew up him six by herself, bro.
No, because you gotta imagine if he had the stones like he had in that scene, he would have fought her with reality. He wouldn't have fought her head up. Like he would have fought her.
If put it this way though. Remember, he has so he has basically the stones, but at the same time, it's an individual that he has just met. So there's not really any prep time. So he doesn't know what the threat is at that point. If it's even worth using the full capacity of the gauntlet. So in his hubris at that moment, his guard was down, and that's why she got the advantage because he didn't know who she was.
Infinity War would have been like,
all right, let me
analyze this.
In Endgame,
and see, Wanda can actually destroy an Infinity Stone.
It's an uncharacteristic Thanos. Thanos in the books, he doesn't go into fights like, oh, I wonder what this guy could do. He does his homework on everybody, so that way he doesn't have a chance to lose. I mean, the Avengers usually have to do a lot of work to. I mean, this is Thanos this is a cosmic level threat. He's
the
up there with the
Galactuses
is
that the other characters in the comics are aware of Thanos, so they
and the Avengers weren't.
So then he preps for them as well. Whereas in this one, in the MCU, none of them knew about Thanos until Infinity War, when they were like, "Oh wait, he's the one who's behind the attack on New York." So to them, like he didn't have to, like he had already kind of like done some prep, but he didn't really have to worry about them. They had to worry about him.
He was doing a recon
on
Earth the whole time
than what we have in the comics.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Wanda's so dope, bro. I can't wait to see her in this movie, dog. I'm so excited to see her cut loose, bro.
Yeah.
And that hot toy. Can't wait for that hot toy.
Yeah, that hot toy looks vicious too, bro.
Oh yeah, that's already paid.
Is that two head sculpt? One with the red eyes, right?
I got two of them, and I paid both of them off, and I'm getting a premium format statue.
I bought one, but does it have two head sculpts, right, or just the one?
I think it's one, and it's got like a luminescent feature to the eyes.
Yeah, it's just one.
Like
it has the red eye with the lights or something. The light,
I'm not
like
sure
the
if it's
luminescent
battery, like LED, or if it's like it lights up under certain circumstances. I'm not sure.
When that dropped, bro, I bought that like instantly when that dropped.
Yeah, I only have one of that though because I'm thinking they'll probably do one from.
Yeah, they're gonna do another one from the movie.
Well, that's another 2 years if we wait for that one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So
that's why
another character that I want to actually bring in real quick.
Okay.
is again, and I know there were questions, like there's questions of why I think that this character is a threat, and there's so many different reasons why
Oh,
I
America,
believe that
other
America
one that's
Chavez
underrated. Oh
is
yeah,
a threat. I mean, not only is
she
she's
can
super
bust in.
strong and durable,
Mhm.
like she's basically damn near she's strong, but at the same
Mhm.
This
time,
artist is a leg man. Telling you right now.
yeah,
Definitely, she
she
got some big old thighs.
she has basically the ability to punch pocket holes in a multiverse.
In
Um,
dimensions, dog. That's
and dimensions
crazy.
and everything. And she can
That's
take whoever
crazy.
she wants through it. But it's been known that sometimes she can't control certain ways that she closes that pocket universe and things get through.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that completely makes her dangerous, because the thing is, she's only tapped into, put it this way, America Chavez literally has the ability to be an Omega level threat. And I think that eventually she can get to that point, because we don't know how big she can make these pockets, because she's known to make them at different sizes, and she can make them huge. You know what I mean? To walk through different dimensions, multiverses, everything as quickly as she can, and in and out. You know what I mean? That's just how powerful this character is. And I believe basically like literally we are going to discover in this film, once we see it, how powerful she really is. But, just from a comic aspect of it, knowing, where she came from, that there are more out there in a sense like her, but she's powerful. Most of the majority of the ones that were there or that were with her escaped, pretty much a threat at that particular point. But I mean, in my
She gets
opinion,
older, bro, she's gonna be an animal.
that's
when
what I'm
she gets
saying.
older.
Like right now,
Yeah.
we're dealing with the younger version, and I think that we even if you follow like the Ultimates books, she was a beast in
She's
those
only a
books.
kid,
Don't
bro, with that
expect
kind of
her to be
power.
fully powered up in this movie.
No,
because
No,
and
no,
I
she's a
don't,
kid.
and I'm
all
so
of
glad
these
that she
heroes,
won't
they're
be.
not
Yeah.
fully powered up in the beginning. Like
Yeah.
and some people will complain like, oh man, they nerfed them. They're not like they're full. But remember, they got to leave. They got to leave somewhere for these characters to go. They got to leave a journey for them. They got to leave them to be able to.
Well, they'll
get
do it. They'll
stronger,
do her
because
like
if they're
Wanda.
full powered up in their first movie or first iteration or whatever, then it's like, well, the next threat, it doesn't feel like an actual threat in the next movie or whatever they're in next. So like, she's gonna be powerful, and I think that I don't think she's gonna be the main source of whatever kind of hell is going on. Like, she's not gonna cause the problem, and I think she'll help in fixing it. She'll help Strange maybe get from like universe
Dimension
to
to
universe or
dimension.
something. But I do think she's gonna create some complications in this film that they're gonna have to.
Maybe she don't close something fast enough or something.
Yeah,
Or
like
her and
again,
Strange make some stupid decisions, like regarding where they're going, like which universe, or like getting out in time. They do something maybe a little reckless. I think that she's gonna make some mistakes here and there, but I don't think she's gonna be like she's not gonna be stumbling through it. I think I hope they have her like not just like, oh, I'm new and I don't know what my power is.
Have a grasp of it at some point.
I hope she's.
I
got
think
more
she's going to be
confidence.
further more involved than what we
Yes.
think as a
I hope so.
character.
Yeah,
It's just
I
that I
hope so.
think that she's because we're not dealing with someone who has just discovered their power.
She's
I don't
had
She's
it
going to
for
be
years.
further
really
along.
want
Yeah, she's
I
going to.
don't
And the
want
thing
her-
is, because of the simple fact that she's grown to know the abilities that she had based on her story. So
Yeah.
she's grown to know it. It's just that she's discovering even more and further down, because she's not a dummy. Like, she's definitely not a dummy.
Yeah.
Real quick, we got a super chat by 6Scale Mafia, $1.99. My dude, video uploading now. Wonderful life, no doubt. Wonderful life. But yeah, her, yeah, and the thing is, getting back to just her in general. Like, again, if you follow the ultimate story, Benny, and we know we have and stuff like that. But if you follow, what you say?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
She's dope.
No, what were we gonna say?
I think that she's like a shortcut as opposed to warpers like Wanda or Franklin, who are creating these other
Franklin, yeah.
realities. She's able to like open doorways of
Yeah.
something that already exists, which doesn't necessitate her power level to be quite on that scale, because when you get to those types of power sets, it's like, okay, well then why is there even any problems in the world at all? Why don't you just make everything in paradise? As opposed to someone like America, who's just gives you access to the different threats and possibilities without the ability to control them. So that gives you a bigger opportunity storytelling wise, as opposed to when you get to a Franklin or Wanda at her full potential. Some of the problems that the comics have is, okay, well, why is there ever a threat? Because Wanda can just make everything perfect, or Franklin can just make everything perfect, and you have to write around that. Just kind of like how Superman always has a ceiling of what you could do, because at some point, all right, he can't be beaten. His plot armor so strong,
that's my boy. Leave him alone.
Right. It becomes tough to write stories for him. So she provides that. She provides that that plot armor to the plot device, if you will, to get from dimension to dimension. If
she's strange,
she's a great plot device for getting from dimension to dimension. If there's no Strange around, or if there's no Wanda around, she's somebody who will be able to provide that the story detail in a film if they aren't there. So you'd be able to have her on a completely different story that might have Wanda or Strange out of the picture, and still be able to use that in a film if you need it. It might be something that she can't even do. It might be something she can only do under extreme duress in these early films. You know what I mean? She might not have control of it yet.
I think she will. In this film, honestly, my prediction with this is that she's going to be in another universe, and she's going to either have a connection with or be with one of the Doctor Stranges, from the multiverse, and that's important or that plays a significant role in this plot. And there's going to be a Doctor Strange that dies, and then she is going to come to this universe to relay some sort of info from the one that's alive, our Doctor Strange, and that's how she's going to be hooked up with
she escapes from a universe where Strange killed everybody with T'Challa, and they're the only two left, and then now we got a new T'Challa.
Yeah,
right,
cool. I'm with it. I'm with it.
I'm with it.
Listen, but see, I don't want them to make her a comic relief, though. Like her power scale is too crazy.
I don't think she will.
I don't
want her to be comic relief. I want her to have some kind of grasp on her powers, because she's a teenager. Yeah. I mean, okay, they make mistakes, but she's like 19. She's like 18, 19. She's a young lady. Let her have a grasp on her powers. Not be perfect, but not fumbling around trying to open up the gate, or being the comic relief of the movie. Don't do that to her, bro. Don't.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they can, based on the history of the character, and based on not only just it's how she comes in. And the thing is,
he does like comic relief though.
He likes it, and there's going to be some there, but I don't think that's going to be the premise of her character.
Yeah,
I think basically with her, it's going to be more so, one of those things where it's a gift and a curse, having the ability and the things that she's seen, because having a character who will, and I'm telling you, she's going to experience, or she's going to see death. She's going to experience death around her. And I think that's what's going to ground her, because that's that PSD that we see in all these characters, is what they've experienced within their environments and within their reality. And I think that's now, of course, every film is going to have a level of comic release. We can't escape that. But at the same time, I think that it's with her, it's going to be more grounded in, I have I'm the bridge between certain worlds, and it's like a certain level. That's what I'm saying. It's a certain level of responsibility that these characters have, because her being able to bounce around in different universes, the multiverse. Now we already know in the books, the multiverse has been completely shattered and destroyed, so she's stuck in our timeline, completely, but she can still open portals to different places and different worlds.
I just want them to have that respect for her, bro. Have the respect for the character. Don't make her the butt of the joke, bro, because she's a teenager and a millennial. Don't make her the butt of the joke, bro. Like,
speaking of teenager, millennial, and butt, I agree with Deflex1 in the chat. Yeah, my daughter would not be allowed to leave the house in shorts like that.
Oh no. Oh no. Hell no.
Nope.
I'm like,
Nah,
where the hell
this
you
is
going?
this is definitely just a a
It's a
iteration
leg
that they're
god as an
doing.
Just
artist. A
saying.
leg god as an artist.
Yeah,
But
do your
I would
thing,
kick her
comic book
ass.
artists. I'm just saying
Oh
that is not
yeah,
going to
no.
translate into real life.
Hell
You
no.
know how
Go
they
put some
have these
sweats
people
on.
drawn. They
Yeah. No.
they draw these characters. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? That's just how they do it. Because if you see her in like in other iterations,
She got like the
she's
black
drawn.
jeans on or something. The
Yeah,
jeans
like
and
she's
the
drawn
sneakers
totally
and shit.
different.
Yeah. That guy was having a leg day, I guess. So that's why he drew her like that.
I think the actress they cast for her is younger than we're used to seeing her in the comics, so they probably won't have her in biker shorts in the movie.
Because they have
Yeah,
her what, like
I
in
don't
the
know
in
how
the
old
the
it looks like she's
actress
probably like
is.
15 or something, or
She
16.
looks like she's young, like
She looks
16
very
years
young.
old.
Yeah, like
15,
15.
Yeah.
15, 16.
She
Yeah.
looks younger than she is in the books. So
Yep.
I
Yeah.
don't know what her actual age is, but she does
That's
look on the
dope.
young
That's a
side.
dope picture, bro.
Yeah, it's super dope. Like
Just
it's
don't
super
downplay
dope.
her. But I'm gonna be so pissed off if they make her the butt of the joke.
She,
bro.
I mean, but she's one of those
They won't. They
characters
won't.
that it's like, man, did we ever think we were gonna see America Chavez on
Never,
on
bro.
screen, dude?
Never.
I'm
I
so
didn't.
Never.
happy, bro.
I did.
Never. I'm glad they got her
I
up
am
there,
so
bro.
excited.
I mean, we
Yeah.
got her, we got Echo, we got. It's like, okay,
This
like
been
all
the
these
year- the
characters
year
that
of the
I
guys-
never
yep.
thought we were gonna get.
This been that
Yeah.
year that we never thought we would see them kind of characters on film or on TV at all. And I'm you got Moon Knight coming up. Like, what the hell? Like, this is a great
I
year
can't wait
for
that.
comics. You know what I'm saying? Then the Star Wars fans, I got Kenobi. Boba
Yeah, I
Fett
mean,
was I got Kenobi coming. So
America's
I'm
only been
excited.
around 10 years. It's a crazy turnaround.
That's
so-
crazy, bro. 10
She
years,
literally,
bro.
yeah, it was literally like barely before the MCU started
Yep.
that she
That's
was in the
crazy,
books.
bro.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that actually
She's a
also,
dope
when you think about it, that
character,
makes
bro.
it that almost makes it easier for them to bring her in because she doesn't have 4 or 5 decades of backstory that they got to figure out how to navigate to get her in and not irritate people. It's
that's a
less
shorty,
tricky
yeah.
to
That's
get
her,
her
yeah.
in
Yeah.
there.
Like 50.
Especially
Yeah.
since her powers facilitate the plot, and like you
Mhm.
said, you don't have you know, the fanboys like here's exactly what she needs to be, and if it's not
Mhm.
this, we're all gonna be pissed. Like when with a Wonder Woman or a Batman, where
Is she gonna be on the
know what
Riri
it should
Williams
be.
show?
Yeah.
What's
What's
that?
that?
Is she gonna be on the Ironheart show too, or no? Think she's gonna be on Ironheart too, or
I
no?
don't know. I haven't heard that yet.
I think there was a rumor about that, but we don't know. There's no confirmation.
Because they said
Yeah.
it a few times. I think her on Ironheart. I think with Miss Marvel or something too. I don't know, but she's not. It's gonna be the only time we see her in the
It's
MCU.
possible. Yeah, we definitely could see her.
Mhm.
But as far as I know, that hasn't been confirmed. It's just been talked about. So we'll
Yeah.
see. I mean,
Yeah.
all of these shows are going to start rolling out soon
Definitely.
after the multiverse.
Moon Knight is kicking it off. Boy, that's gonna be
Definitely.
crazy, bro.
So,
Moon Knight. Like,
Last but not least for tonight, that is, you already know it's coming.
The problem
oh
child.
boy.
You already know it's coming.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
We are this
Oh,
picture
this little
alone.
brat.
This picture
Excuse me.
alone speaks
Creepy
to
as fuck.
this picture alone speaks to the level of power that this individual carries.
It's got
A
a
little
universe,
boy who
like,
creates
in the-
a baby
it's
universe,
crazy,
bro. Like
Yep.
he creates a universe under his covers, bro.
It's like a baby
Under
with
his
a nuclear
cover.
shotgun. That's crazy,
Exactly.
dude.
Yeah, like literally Franklin Richards. Now, this is a character that if they brought him in, it's not if they will, but it just depends on what iteration they bring him and how they bring him in. And I think the best way to basically bring him in actually is as an adult from the future, like literally.
Mhm.
I really feel that way. It's the best
so?
way to bring him in. I think the reason why, not, here's the thing, not as an adult fully powered, where we see his ability, is just as an adult observing and maybe delivering a message and then leaving. That's it. Not giving him full advantage, because we know what a fully powered, fully adult version of Franklin Richards, what he can do.
Right.
But we also,
I also think though, if that I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, what were we gonna say?
It's the first time we see Franklin's power set is at 5 or
Stupid.
6 years old, like
Yeah.
when we first seen
Stupid.
it in Heroes Reborn
Yeah.
back in the 90s. And I think it just adds such a shock value to the audience as opposed to seeing him as an adult first. It kind of is a foreshadowing that he's going to be a superhero when he grows up. So it still
His
gives
mentor
that
was
possibility that
Spider-Man.
we'll be shocked when he does use it. But
Yeah.
I think that it would either way, as long as his power set is similar to what he actually can do. I think when down the line, this is the same thing with X-Men, where they can't rush this. There's tons and tons of
That's
Fantastic
exactly
Four
what I
stories.
was thinking.
Tons
they
and tons
can't.
and tons
Yep.
of fantastic.
Yep.
There's so
They
many
can't.
Fantastic Four stories that they have
They
not
can't.
You
even
know what would be
scraped the surface
crazy?
of, that
They
when
can't.
it gets to Franklin, it means so much more if he's able to do because it's
You
like
gotta
when he
earn it.
first
You
did
gotta
that,
earn
it was
it.
when he first did that, it was like this is a family that has faced villains the size of skyscrapers and
Yeah.
alien bug races and other
Yeah.
planets, and so many of their adventures have
Mole
taken
Man and all that
on
joke.
other planets and universes, and yet when Franklin shows up and does his shit, it's like everything they've done is just like parlor tricks.
Exactly. You've got to show. You have to show the Fantastic Four, and you have to show their power sets and how amazing they are, and or fantastic they are, and how the threats that they go up against, how insane those are. Otherwise,
Before you trump it.
Yeah.
don't. Otherwise, you miss the mark on the shock factor of, oh my god, like how
I just don't want him
powerful
being
this
an
kid is,
end credit
that
scene, bro.
everything they've done, and they're just like, well,
Yeah.
no, that's
You
fucked
can't
up.
Cause see-
avoid
cause
anything
see-
to create a universe and then go fight the Mole Man. Like
right.
you can't go.
The
You
Mole
can't
Man.
go back.
Right, right. You can't go
I'm
backwards.
in the exact same place on Franklin as I am on Nate,
X-Men.
and Cable, and Rachel. It's that
You
have
build
to
to that.
You have to earn it, and that means we've got to establish Scott and Jean first.
Cause
And
see,
we've gotta
with
do that
Marvel-
the right way. We've got to establish Sue and Reed first,
Yeah.
and then give us a reason to actually care about
Right.
and be
keep coming.
in awe of Franklin. And so that's why
Mm-hmm.
it's entirely possible that we see him, maybe just a little tease to what could come in the future, but we don't get it full on yet, or that we don't see him for several years. But to me personally, I want at least 2 Fantastic Four films minimum.
At least.
But
Before they
Before
even
Franklin.
introduce them having a child.
Franklin
But see,
is even
my
I
thing
think
is-
I think you're going to get more than that. I mean, the thing is, Franklin is a character that you see several years down the line. You know,
All over
you've seen
the
it
place.
when the Fantastic Four has established themselves. Because number one, think of us as fans that when we first when you even actually hear the thought of her being pregnant, period. You know,
You already know what time it is.
you already know what time it is. But I think that's going to be fleshed out down the line. It's not something that we're going to see immediately. But what I'm thinking the reason why I say this is because just imagine if there's an adult version who shows no sign of power, no nothing, you know,
At the end
who
credits
follows
somewhere.
them the entire time that we actually see it, but we don't get an admission of who he really is until years down the line.
That's why I
later.
think if we see Franklin, it's gonna be an under the radar, like no real powers or anything. It's more
and I don't
like,
want them to do
at
that.
some point, like toward the end, it's like oh, sorry, by the name, my name is Franklin or something.
Franklin
And at
Richards.
the end, and people are like, most people will be like, okay, yes, so what? And then people like us, the same people who were seeing all the Easter eggs in Hawkeye and in WandaVision and stuff like that, who saw the House of M label on the wine bottle and stuff like that, will be, oh fuck, like it's gonna be one of those sly things for us.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna be like, okay, we're getting into his story and his power set and stuff like right off the jump. I don't think they're gonna do that. I hope they don't.
I would hate.
Kevin Feige hasn't shown that he would, so I don't believe that's the case.
Yeah.
But regardless, if we get Franklin in the MCU at any point, it's going to be a long play. It's going to be a slow burn. I don't think it's going to be.
It has to be long.
See, I would hate to have.
If we see him seriously get into it, it's not going to be for like 10 years.
Yeah, because it's like you have a Fantastic Four movie, and then him as an end credit as an adult show up. I would hate that, bro. Let it draw out like Leo was saying, like at least 2-3 movies, and then bring Franklin in, bro.
Yeah.
As an end credit.
It's going to be years before we actually see a Franklin, because like I said, they still haven't fully fleshed out a Fantastic Four film in general.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
that's not going to be
They just got all the
back
actors
into
together,
the
bro.
Batcave to warn Bruce. It's not going to be like that.
Yeah,
and that's the big of it.
That's what I don't want.
that's big enough of a task in and of itself.
Mhm.
It's like I'm at the point where let's shelve Franklin until you figure out how to do Doom,
Yeah.
and Reed, and the
Don't.
family.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
me get
Surfer,
a few.
Galactus.
Let me get Galactus.
You know,
You have
everybody who
so
basically
much.
plays around. Yeah.
You have so much to get right before you go to your ace in the hole.
Yeah.
Stop counting out Mole Man, bro.
What you say, Mole Man?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Stop
You can't
counting
count
out
him
Mole
out,
Man.
bro.
Oh,
You
man.
can't count out Mole Man, bro. Like straight up. Like it's
You know what's
so
messed up? Watch them have moment, and then people are gonna be like, "Oh, you mean the guy from Incredibles?"
oh,
Because Incredibles was just an homage to Fantastic Four, so you know you're gonna have some kids like,
Yep.
"Oh,
Yeah.
like the guy from
I
Incredibles."
know who Mole
Yeah.
Man is.
Coolio
Yeah.
would fuck Mole Man up. Just
yo. It's Coolio, man. Anyway, Franklin, yeah. I think but again, we're talking about a character on a scale of
Mhm.
on that magnitude, you know, who we really, as powerful as he is,
Mhm.
even as powerful as he is in the comics, we haven't seen him pose a huge Wanda Maximoff type of threat yet.
Nah. Mm-mm.
You know what I
He's pretty
mean?
much been used in a far more positive and controlled way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
His reactionary like birth of his powers in Heroes
Mhm.
Reborn to like protect himself from onslaught was like it wasn't really a negative world ending type of
Yeah.
scenario, or the culmination of the Secret War storyline where basically he's repopulating the multiverse
Yeah.
by creating universes to replenish. That was a positive thing. So it's like he's one of the god level characters in Marvel that isn't crazy.
Well, he was
and
hanging out
doing
with
just
Peter
random
Parker.
shit.
he's
like his
like
mentor.
when you're holding a firecracker in your hand and you're holding it for as
Mhm.
long as you possibly can
Mhm.
and letting it go at the last second before it blows your
Mhm.
hand off.
Mhm.
Eventually you fuck up and you don't throw it away fast enough and
Yeah.
it blows your hand up. And that's him.
Yeah.
He's that firecracker that you're holding on to. You think, oh, it's good, and it's gonna blow up in your hand. So eventually,
He's a good
he's gonna
kid,
get to that
man. He's
point.
just his power level
But-
is just stupid, bro.
But that said, though, like everything that he's done so far, the bulk of it, the
Been
beats or
positive.
whatever, has been
Yeah.
as a child.
Yeah.
So you
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
it speaks so much to what he's capable of because he's using his powers in these like big one burst shot effects as opposed to like a daily use of having to do it
Mhm.
and still not really fucking up. I think it speaks volumes to Reed and Sue that the kid's at least not screwed up in the head enough that he's using these unimaginable powers for to wipe us all out of existence. I mean, think about how unimaginable what his power set is to even be able to comprehend it's kind of like when when Hulk or Strange had to snap everybody back. Like you had to have the mental wherewithal to think about all the different people that you're affecting as opposed to just here's a punch, like so his scale of intelligence is just insane.
Ridiculous.
It's just insane. It's unimaginable.
Yeah. And again, they just have to do it right.
Yep.
That's the bottom line. Get him right, get the story, get the foundation, and lay the foundation of the Fantastic Four first.
Mhm.
Lay that first. Give us the positive, the best iteration. Lay, like you said, Doom, his storyline has to be laid. Even their problems with Namor has to be laid. Like there's a lot. You know what? And now that you think about it, Namor has been trying to take everyone, like every female in the Marvel universe,
too.
bro.
He loves Sue Richards, boy.
Yeah, hell yeah. But it is what it is. But no,
He's cracked on Shuri too.
oh yeah, he's everybody, bro. Even Storm,
Shuri,
even Storm.
He's a beast, bro. Like
he's in pimp.
City.
He wants to impregnate the
Mr.
entire
City,
human
girl.
civilization, bro. That's just who he is.
That's him.
He is
in the
definitely
comments,
Mr.
he's
City
definitely
girl.
Mr. Your Girl. Yeah, him and Tony Stark are the worst too, bro.
Yeah, definitely. He is,
Batman
man.
too. That's another one.
It's
Don't leave
ironic
the
that
girl
I don't think
out
Namor has any kids, does he?
No.
You would think he'd have kids anywhere.
Not that we know of. Put it that way. That we know of. He's just. It's all
maybe,
like
maybe he's got some little minnows out there. If he's like, you know,
he might.
If he's like Aquaman in the DCEU, you know, fucking fish, then
cut it out. Don't even get me started on Peacemaker. Please don't. Oh no, my God.
He could.
Anyway,
don't get me started on Peacemaker. I hate Peacemaker.
Anyway,
Flash confirmed is not a rumor. He does it.
Anyway, I'm going to basically end it there. Again, we are talking about not just the whole premise of tonight's show wasn't to talk about Omega level. It was to talk about threats. It was to talk about the threat to the multiverse as we know it. These are the characters that you want to basically read about, you know, and if you get a chance, just discover, because there's a lot into these characters, the lot that plays into these characters and how important they will be to the universe going forward. Because a lot of these characters, if you're already seeing them now, you're going to see them going forward. For the exception of maybe Jamie Braddock, but I don't know. We might. But anyway, yeah, I mean, good show as always. Everybody out in chat, thank you for actually coming through. We've had a ball. But yeah, you know, it's where we live in the realm of possibility when it comes to Marvel right now, and the MCU and where we're going with it. I'm just interested. Like, I'm going in literally. So if Benny, you're going to be proud of me, bro. You're going to be proud. Okay. So what I'm doing is because I know they're going to release another trailer. I'm not going to watch it. I'm literally not going to watch it.
Bullshit.
I'm not. No, I'm dead ass. Shit. I'm dead ass. I'm dead ass. The reason why I don't.
Everybody on
no,
YouTube
explain
right
it.
Now,
listen
bro.
to the reason why. Hear me out. The reason why is I think man. No, but you got to hear me out. Hear me out, bro.
He's lying about not buying quarter scale boba.
I know he lying. I know he lying.
Dude, we all see.
So what I'm basically saying is, what I'm saying is, right? The reason why I'm not, I think that I basically think that they've given us too much already. So much already. I want to go in with and they haven't really told the story yet, but I want to go kind of in blind based off of the premise of what I think so far. And where I'm going with it and what I'm hoping to see. So I don't want to see anything else. I really, really don't. And I don't think they're going to actually give us another trailer until closer to the film anyway. So I'm just going to hold out. I'm just going to go in with what I know and what I've seen so far and just leave it at that. I don't want to see anything else going forward because there's a lot that's going to actually happen in this movie that I do want to be surprised at. I really, really do.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on. Like there's really a lot going on. There's a lot that's going to actually happen. A lot that really, really even watching the trailer, there's a lot of misdirects, bro. And I
definitely in the trailer.
There's a lot of mixed misdirects in the trailer that's going to play itself out in the film. I think that even when we watch the trailer, and again, we're not going to get into a big discussion about it, but when we watch the trailer, you know what I mean? It's one of those situations where you're seeing, you know, the focus in on certain characters, or focus in on certain things, and we give it that. We're giving it that energy because we want to see it. It may play out a totally different way. It may be something completely different, and that's why I want to go in like, okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to wait, and then we'll just mainly take it from there. That's just how I actually see it. So, again, that's where I'm going in. Mark my words. You can think I'm lying if you want, but if we're not, there's not even going to be.
And just like how I do with of the trailers after the fact, you can watch whatever trailers they put out from here on and be like, see, all those moments where you were like, oh, they put that in too. That's new to you
because the thing is, they went around. They really went a route in this trailer that, even though it was enjoyable, I sat back and thought about it. I was like, wait a minute, bro, it's too much. Like,
the trailer was deep.
It's too much. It's deep. Like, it's really, really deep. And it called, and they pulled a card that I really didn't think that they would pull. Like, I didn't think that they would go that route, but they did. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, okay, I don't want to speculate, but at the same time, it's like, I want them sort of like to prove me wrong, because if I'm right about this, then I'll be like, damn, like, we wanted to leave certain things left to the imagination. You know what I mean? So it's just going to be one of those things where we got to actually sit back. So that's why I was like, you know what? The next, I seen this one. I don't really need it. This gave me enough to kind of feed my curiosity for this particular film. And what's coming next?
Have you heard the rumors about Toby and Andrew? in this
That's just a
film
rumor. I think that's just a rumor.
about
bro.
them trying to kill them off, bro. I'm gonna be
That's
pissed off if
that's
that
a
happens,
rumor.
though.
That's a
No,
rumor.
no, no.
That's a
That's
rumor.
people just going a little too far.
Bro, they're
after
going
the
too
whole
far.
No
That's
Way
a
Home.
rumor.
Oh, all right.
That's just people. That's just
That's a
shenanigans.
rumor. That is a
Because you
super
can't have
rumor.
them in No Way Home like that, bro, and then kill them off in the very next
Nah,
film. I'm
because the thing is,
That's
it's
not-
like, you know,
they're
this.
not doing that.
You're not,
All right.
because the thing is, we're on a totally different spectrum, bro. Like, that story was told. That story
Yeah.
was actually told. You don't need to really
No,
shoehorn them in. We
I
could get.
think we'll get. I think we'll get an Amazing Spider-Man 3. I think we will get something. With
That's
Andrew
definitely
Garfield
coming. Andrew
Yeah,
saved it.
I don't see them being in this movie at all.
Yeah.
And this movie's already going to have enough characters and enough going on
Mhm.
that they
Yeah.
don't shoehorning that in. I don't see them doing that. I genuinely don't.
I don't think they. I think they're smart enough to realize that it wasn't
Yeah.
just so much having Andrew and Toby there. It was the magic of
All three of them in the same building.
No, not necessarily that. The magic
Mm-hmm.
of having characters from different
Yeah.
franchises.
Franchises,
continuities.
yeah.
And
It was
it's
about
something that
cinematic
hadn't been
history
done yet.
as much as comic book history.
Right.
Definitely
So,
cinematic
and
history.
that I think that's a lot to Leo's point. Like
Mhm.
you're when you watch a trailer, you want to have, here's what this is going to be. Here's an appetizer, and then you go in. But when you have a film like No Way Home, where the part of the enjoy, the what you enjoy of the film, and
Mhm.
movies like that can become like event films where like
Mhm.
Toby showing up and Andrew showing up, like that. If they had showed that in a trailer to make you want to go see it, then
Mhm.
you wouldn't have had that reaction that you see to this day. Viral videos on the internet of theaters just standing ovation going crazy. But if it was
Oh,
shown in
yeah.
a trailer,
Yeah,
that takes so much out of it. Now, it still was a good movie. You still would have enjoyed plenty of it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
some of that stuff
Mhm.
is so much more important to be seen on screen in the moment. So it
Yeah.
adds so much more weight to it, as opposed to here's everything cool that's going to happen so that you go to see the movie. And then when you go to see the movie, here's a few extra things. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
nah, you want to give people some things, but you can't go overboard, because if your thought process is to get everybody to go, and I mean, you're
Get
showing a
people in the
lot of people.
seats.
You're showing a
Yeah.
lot of people who are already
True.
going to go anyway, stuff that
Mhm.
minimizes their reaction when they see it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I left that theater wanting to go see it again. Now, had
Dude,
I
I've
watched
seen it like
trailers,
3 times.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Now, had I watched
Mhm.
trailers and I
Mhm.
seen them in the trailer, a dozen times before the movie came
Mhm.
out, and
Well, they
then
weren't
it
in
came
the
out,
trailers,
and
though.
everybody was cheering, and I was like,
They
yeah,
erased them
that was
from
in
the trailer.
Cool, they did a great
Yeah.
job. I wanted
Yeah.
them to be like, oh, I gotta go
Toby
see it
and-
again.
Toby
You know
and
what I
Andrew
mean?
Garfield
It
weren't in the
takes from it.
trailers, though.
Yeah,
So
they
I think
erased
what
them.
they're doing
They
in
erased
this movie is, I feel like this movie, the point of this movie is going to be for them to be like, oh, you see how everybody went crazy for Andrew showing up? Well, let's do
Yeah.
that times a half a dozen with other different
Oh, yeah,
possibilities,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
more of that they show in the
Mm-hmm.
trailers, the less of that you're going to feel watching it.
I don't
in the
think we're going to see
For
much
see-
new from this movie at all. Trailers, TV spots. I don't
Yeah.
think anything that they do put out, I think is going to be like 95% footage that we've already seen and a couple
Yup.
of additional
Excerpts
shots
in
that we
different
haven't.
ways.
But
I don't
see,
think
that's
they're giving-
that's
I
my
don't think
point.
they're
Primarily,
giving
What they
Marvel
gonna
does
do?
it in stages. Usually, their third trailer is like, all right, here's 5 minutes of the damn movie.
Yeah,
But see, and
I don't
that's
think
my-
this will be
my
because
point-
This is going to have such a big impact. I don't.
But
think-
see, my
Marvel does
point
that with
is-
the third trailer is always the longest.
But my
one.
point
Exactly.
is the simple fact that I think already, if you watching this trailer and then going back and watching breakdowns and watching people talk about it, and even us having discussions, like I remember we had a discussion the other day on Robert Meyer Burnett's channel, and I sat back and I was thinking about it. I was like, yo, like everybody's having these discussions and they're breaking it down, and a lot of it looks like it will be played out that way in the film. And I'm like, yeah, nah, I don't want, nah, save some of that. Like save some of it. Let me, I don't want, just save some of it and just let me. So I figure like for me, I watched this trailer and that's pretty, if they gave me this trailer literally and didn't put out another one, I'm fine with it. Cause this is all I need.
Yeah, this trailer was good though.
Like
Just-
this is
just
literally all I
remember
needed.
that we all thought we knew exactly how No Way Home was going to play out. and it didn't go exactly the way that we thought it was going to go. There was no Mephisto. There was no.
I never thought there was gonna be no damn Mephisto.
Everybody was saying that because of Doctor Strange.
A lot of people thought that
Yeah.
Strange and
a
Mephisto
lot of
because of
people
the
thought
comic.
what was going to go with Doctor Strange. That wasn't the way it went down.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, and this one, because it's so critical to the MCU, I think there's a lot of misdirection here. I don't think that, like, I think as much as we think we know about this movie, I think there's a whole lot more that's going to surprise us that we don't know and that they're not going to give away in trailers. So
Because even in the trailer, they fade out some of the
trailer.
major characters, bro.
We get one more trailer. I genuinely don't believe it's going to give anything.
Nothing else.
I think this is also, the timing of this is different too, because this was around the timing of the Super Bowl, where they
had to do
get
something.
the most eyes on this stuff. They want something that's gonna be the most glitzy and show something, get that everybody staring at the big shiny thing, like, so that was their chance. So I think the next trailer will be more subdued than what we just got.
What was like a minute and 30 seconds or something like that? A minute and
It was like minute
I just
45,
again
something
just
like
based
Yeah, a
off of
minute, 40
speculation
seconds.
alone and how many people are talking about it and just how it's being broken down. I'm just like, and just me seeing it myself, and I'm like, damn, like they're really doing this, and damn, this might have already happened and we just didn't know it. It's like, it's just a way for me to say, you know what, right now, if I'll stick with this trailer and just walk away from everything else and just go into this knowing the knowledge that I have from just this trailer alone, because I don't want, I don't want too much more information than what we've actually got. Because I really didn't think, like, for instance, when they dropped the trailer in the theater, I was like, okay, you know what I mean? It is what it is.
Yeah,
they gave us this trailer, and I'm like, all right, so those two trailers alone they're different, but enough. Because if you keep it, if you want to keep it all the way 100, they already dropped 3 trailers. 3 of them.
Oh shit!
Already.
After
if you think about it,
after WandaVision, after No Way Home,
not even after WandaVision, not even after they dropped the one that we actually saw after No Way Home. They dropped the one during the Super Bowl, but you had to see the full one online.
No Way Home. Yeah.
And the short one did have different shots in it.
It had totally different shots in it. So they've already basically dropped 3 trailers. I don't need to see anything else. I don't need anything.
What, March? Is it in May, right? Or March?
Yeah.
I agree. I don't need more from it. That's why I honestly
3 more
don't
months
think
to try
the
and
next
avoid
one is
this.
going to give a lot away. I think it's going to be.
I hope.
If you haven't read a comic book, then I don't need no more. I already know a lot of the plot from just reading the comics. You feel me? So it's like I don't need no more. But if one comes, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna watch. But it's like, I'm set. Like I'm already ready. I'm ready to go.
I just want to. That's all I need.
We don't have too much more before the movie. We're almost there.
That's all I basically need is what we got, and I just hope it's not more revealing than what it actually is, because this movie, people don't understand how important this movie is going to be. It's huge, bro.
It's why
huge.
last year felt like a placeholder year, because it was building all up to this phase.
Yeah,
and it's a tie in to TVA and Kang and all that. I cannot wait, bro. Like that's going to be so dope.
Because bro, like coming off. Yeah, bro. Coming off of No Way Home, bro. Think we get a hot toy of what?
Of Strange. The cape is different. It has a blue patch on the back.
Oh yeah, they're gonna milk that.
Multiple.
There's gonna be multiple Stranges,
They're gonna
bro.
have Supreme Strange with the red and black. Oh,
damn! So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. He has
good.
Yeah. So just.
I'm a hot toy now. I'm sorry, bro.
We'll get a bunch.
Yeah, we're gonna basically get a bunch of them. So basically, that's what to look forward to. So yeah, I mean, yeah. Anyway, thanks everybody for actually coming out with us, man, and enjoying this show tonight. And just having this discussion, man. Like, this is what we do it for. Jedi K, what you got coming up next, bro?
Work. And I gotta read these comics. I'm probably start reading probably Tuesday or Wednesday. That Immortal and that Wolverine. But I can't wait to bust them open.
Yeah,
so,
that Immortal. That's right. You just got the Immortal, right?
Immortal Hulk. I got the first, I think 10, and I have that new Wolverine series I didn't open up yet. I got to read them. So I'm on them this week.
Got you.
I'm playing on my new grandson, boy.
Yes, indeed.
I can't wait for that.
Hell yeah, man.
So,
Again, if you haven't already followed Jedi Kid, man, you know where to follow him at. You know where to get his information, man. Come
yes,
on,
man.
man. You know what time it is. You can follow him on Instagram, and look at all his figure shots and how many figures he got in that room, man. Like,
I got like, I think last count was like 250.
yeah, you got a lot. You got a lot to play around with.
250.
Vinny, what you got going on with, bro?
I like I said, I just finished up Avengers. I might switch it up to an indie book like Powers or Monstrous and switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I am working on a new big piece. It'll probably be a couple weeks at least before I have any new art coming out because I'm working on something that's going to be like super time consuming. But I did just finish up. I know we're all comic heads here, but some of you in the chat, if you read manga or watch anime,
Oh, you got that
you
anime going?
My Hero Academia. I just finished a big ass deco piece.
Oh,
And I just finished this one up here.
oh,
And this one is an homage to Frank Miller's The Batman Dark Knight #2. And I love
Yeah.
that
Hold up,
pose. It's one of
Dark
my
Knight.
favorites. Yeah, it's one of my favorite poses. So I wanted to like do a little Frank Miller
Oh,
homage. And
yeah, that's
Wow,
dope.
yeah.
so this one I just got wrapped up. I don't have too many anime heads pieces, so I wanted to give something for the anime heads. So little My
You
Hero
gotta say that
Academia
right
piece.
away. That's all.
And so that one's wrapped up, and I'll be working on some a big mural piece next. That's going to be really time consuming, but I had to do a deku. My Hero Academia is amazing, so I like that joint.
Did you finish
Yep. and
Phoenix
so,
Man?
yeah, I did that. Did you
You
see that
finished
one?
it?
Yeah,
Nah,
yeah,
I saw you
yeah.
starting it. Yeah, started it.
Yeah. That one.
Let me see that thing.
Yeah, this is the Phoenix hand. Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy.
Bro, that's
that one's all
dope.
fun. That one's all finished
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So
that's dope,
yeah, that
bro.
one's all done. So that
That's
one was
really
fun.
nice.
I don't know. Did you see the cat bang?
Let me see.
Yeah, and then here's the cat bang. So
Oh yeah, you wildin'. That's nice,
Yeah.
bro. You got to
so-
frame them
Bang.
things quick, boy.
yeah, well these originals I gotta get prints made up,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
and then after I get prints made up, they go in the portfolio and then all
Okay,
that
cool.
good stuff. So I gotta get to the printers and get them all done up.
Yeah, that's
So-
cool. I need that Cad Bane 6 scale. I need that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Vinny have a channel? Not yet. Not
channel
yet.
It's coming.
Channel
It's
yet.
coming.
Not yet. He's
Okay,
gonna get
yeah.
pushed to do one, but you never know. He's gonna get
Yeah.
pushed. So you already
Yeah.
see how that is, man.
But
So
for
if you
now,
haven't-
you can find my stuff on Vince Dunn Art on Instagram.
Yeah.
And if you want to be so kind as to purchase any pieces, it's vincedunnart.storemp.com. And see y'all there and on Comic Book Talk with Friends on Mondays and
Uncivilized.
Uncivilized Scoundrels on Thursdays.
Yes.
You know,
That's such a dope name.
Star
for a
Wars
show,
and comic
bro.
books. I mean,
That's
other than
so
hip hop and
dope.
martial arts with it,
Straight up.
you know.
You already know what time it is, bro.
That beat is
Here
raw
we
too
go.
for that show.
Bucky naked. Besides being butt naked around the kid with the crib and and all your lore and loving Coolio, what else?
Not a lot. I got the kids and my wife home for February vacation right now, so that's over and get them back out to school. But no, so mostly just comic book catch up and just tearing through Horizon Forbidden West. So doing that. I went to see the Uncharted movie.
How was it?
I actually thoroughly enjoyed it.
Cool.
I knew what I was getting going in. I wasn't expecting Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? I was expecting certain things that would make it fun for me.
Yeah.
Nods to the franchise, laying the groundwork for hopefully them to do more game faithful, like specific story adaptations and sequels. It was number one in the box office, made like over 50 million this weekend. So I think they are probably going to get a second one made. I know, Robert Meyer Burnett, he wasn't a big fan of it. And I listened to some of his criticisms. I listened to all of his criticisms, and some of them I actually agreed with that, and then others I disagreed with, but it was more just in like, that thing didn't bother me, or that thing wasn't that critical to me. Overall, I enjoyed it for what it was. I had a good time. Is it perfect? No. I'm a massive Uncharted is my absolute favorite game franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great game. We got all four of them.
All-time game franchise. I played every single one of the games.
I beat
at
all them
least a
games.
half dozen times each. Platinum
Does he
them,
feel like an adult?
Yeah,
I think that's the hardest part for
like-
people to get around.
he
It
feels
feels
like-
like a child.
Yes, he feels
Yeah.
like he does feel like an adult, and I'll say
Oh, good.
like he doesn't to me anyway, at least to me, he feels like a movie star. He feels like he's just got charisma in any role. He didn't feel to me like Peter Parker. There was like one little kind of shirtless like I'm working out a little bit montage, and I was like, well, that's definitely not Nathan Drake. That was basically they wanted some
Peter.
sex appeal in the movie, and so they threw that scene in there to show off how much he butched up for it and stuff. But there's a scene at the very beginning, like when he's flirting with this young woman in this bar, and the way you do it, it's like it was very much the opposite of the awkward teenage bumbling romantic Peter Parker.
Right.
This
So
was
he's
like,
really Nathan Drake.
this is a smooth motherfucker who like he doesn't even
Okay.
like this girl, and she didn't really like him at the start, but she's kind of digging him now, and so it showed that like he can be a more suave like adult character. And there were some really cool moments. Yeah, there's some stuff that it's like, oh, that's kind of ridiculous, but like all in all, I really liked it. So I enjoyed it. I saw it on opening day. I'm gonna go back and see it again in the theaters before it's out. I also got
How was Marky Mark and Scully? Was he all right?
It's not Sully from the video games. It's just not, and I knew that going in because I was like, there's just no way, and it's not. So if you're really hung up on that, then you're going to be irritated. But knowing that going in, it's not Sully, right? Or at least it's not the Sully that we know by
From the
point
games.
the games start. Maybe he'll kind of ease more into that type of role in sequels.
At least
I don't
with the
know.
gray hair. At least give him gray hair or something.
Yeah, but it's Mark Wahlberg. It's not. It's not Sully. But that it is what it is.
Yeah.
I also already got my my tickets for Batman.
Oh yeah,
Batman.
next week.
That's next week, ain't it?
I got.
Yes, it is.
So
I'm pre-gaming at Vinny's.
Yeah, I have a wedding
Okay.
to go to in New Jersey that weekend, so I'm not going to be able to go see it on like the Friday or Saturday. So I actually got a ticket for Thursday at 3 p.m. This is in like an early show Thursday at 3 p.m. here in Boston. So I'm going to see it early. So because I was like, there's no way I'm waiting until after the weekend. I'll have it spoiled for me. I'm going Thursday 3 o'clock in the afternoon, IMAX. I'm doing it. So already got that
Go ahead
ticket.
and get my tickets for Friday, I guess.
Looking forward to that. I will, just to keep this brief, I'll just run through really quick the things for you guys to look out for coming up, specifically from Marvel for the next like 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, so like through the end of March, because there's some really good shit that's on the way. For one, just if you haven't, you can catch up with and keep going with the miniseries Echo's Song, where she's dealing with having the Phoenix Force. You can keep up with Devil's Reign is going to be wrapping up by the end of the month, and that's been a great storyline, and it's got some great spin-off titles. There's Daredevil Woman Without Fear that has been really good, so that's going to keep going. There's Elektra Black, White, and Red that's going to keep going. That's really good, so check those out. They just did the first issue of the new Iron Fist, and the way they did it and the character, how he comes to get it, it actually spins out of Death of Doctor Strange partially, and that one is one of the tie-ins to that arc. That one's really cool, so I've liked that. They're doing a Wolverine patch miniseries. It's I think 8 issues. That's basically kind of like told like back in the day. So it's like a flashback kind of, he's on a mission on Madripoor as Patch, with the eye patch, runs into another eye patch in Nick Fury. That looks like it's going to be really cool. There's going to be a Moon Knight tie-in to Devil's Reign that'll be really interesting to check out, so look for that. There's Strange #1, which is a new series kicking off immediately following the death of Doctor Strange. So if you haven't read The Death of Doctor Strange yet, do that now, because this new series is going to take things in a completely different direction with some different characters, and it's going to be wild. So I would check that one out. The Cap and Iron Man miniseries is going to be wrapping up over the next like month or so. And then we've got some new miniseries coming out. There's the Captain Carter 3-issue miniseries that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
There's a new Spider-Gwen miniseries, Gweniverse miniseries that's coming. We've got this week or next week, I think, is Carnage Forever #1, which is going to be bringing a bunch of different writers and artists together to do some cool stuff with Carnage that's going to lead into Carnage #1 next month, where they start a new ongoing series for him. So that's going to be awesome. We're getting a new Ghost Rider #1 coming up this week, I think, with Johnny Blaze back in the lead role. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then I think that's most of it, except the two things that I am most excited for. First one is a new 3-issue What If series. And they all center around Miles Morales.
Okay.
And it's 3 issues. The first one
With him as the
it's
Hulk?
what if, and these are what if Miles Morales did not become Spider-Man. Instead, what if Miles Morales got the super soldier serum and became Captain America?
Oh, snap.
What if Miles Morales was taken into the Weapon X program and essentially became Wolverine?
Dope.
And what if Miles Morales
Was the Hulk, right?
was the Hulk?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
So it's basically exploring this notion that Miles Morales as an individual, as a human being, as a character, has this something about him that's heroic in his very nature. And so no matter what universe he's going to be in, he is going to be a hero of some type.
That's
so
dope.
it's whether he's bitten by the radioactive spider or the Weapon X program is, whatever it is, the super serum soldier, there's something about him that makes him just destined to be that heroic character. So that's really cool. And the last thing, and this one was just kind of teased, just kind of announced, it doesn't actually drop until August. But this is really exciting. So for people who are Fantastic Four fans and people who are Alex Ross fans, Alex Ross is writing a new large format, like long, so it's like a trade paperback kind of deal, a multi-issue.
Yeah, I was talking about this a little bit ago. I can't wait for this shit.
Yeah, it's called Full Circle. All right. Alex Ross is writing and doing the art for this book
In a new style.
What?
This is picture
a
this.
new
Now,
style.
this is the thing. They're taking a classic story from Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, but he's modernizing it. And imagine Jack Kirby's sense of color and Alex Ross's art style having a baby.
Oh, that's
what
going to be
this
sick.
is. It's Alex Ross and Jack Kirby coming together, their two art styles, to create this book.
It's a busier style. It's a lot more kinetic with a lot more lines and detail.
Right.
But
That's gonna be sick.
it's not as clean.
Realism with Jack Kirby's fantasy style.
With like some
That's going to be
hitch,
sick.
with like some hitch tendencies in there too. It's not as clean as his usual stuff.
Yeah, it's like absolutely. I don't know if I can even get this one to be that big, but you can kind of see it here. Is one example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's Alex
Oh my
Ross's
God.
realism with
Jimmy,
Jack
it's-
Kirby's colors.
Yeah.
and,
It's like a
kind of
it's like a jam
backgrounds.
page.
Yeah. It's
That's
gonna
dope.
be. I'm super psyched about that. It's called Fantastic Four Full Circle. So it's coming out August 2nd, I believe. Yeah, August 2nd. So I am super psyched about that. I would imagine that we're probably going to get some cool art prints that we can purchase from his website related to that release. So all of that stuff, man, Like
Yeah.
all of those books, like I said, we're gonna see so much Ghost Rider, Carnage, and Miles, and all that stuff. There's a lot to be excited for. Obviously, that Alex Ross book, but over the next 6 weeks, between the culmination of Devil's Reign, and then all these other things that we're getting, the new Iron Fist, the new Ghost Rider, the new Carnage. Also, the 8-issue miniseries, the new Punisher kicks off next
Yeah.
month too. And I know, like, we've talked about it on this, and people have been like, oh, they're like the symbol and stuff. The first issue, the art, they've already released the cover for the first issue of this, which comes out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And he's got the original full-fledged symbol, like, directly on his chest, big, right on the cover.
I hope they don't
So
change
this
it.
isn't.
Though.
I think there. It's going to be modified as part of this story. I don't think that's going to last long term. I think it's going to be specific to
It's a temporary
this
thing.
arc.
I'm so tired of people crying about stupid
Because
shit.
people are
man.
like, oh, like they're changing it for political reasons or social kind of things like that.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they were doing that, they wouldn't have it dead center, right big,
A big finger to
in the
everybody
first
complaining
issue
about
of
it.
this series.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think it's anything about like, oh, well, this has been co-opted and we're getting rid of it. That's the Skull is always going to be the Punisher's thing. I think this is the change in it is going to be specific to this storyline with the Hand,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's going to last beyond that. So everybody
Good.
who's like really irritated about that, pump the
Good.
brakes, just like we have
Just
on
let it
everything
play
else
out.
in the movies and stuff.
Yeah, good,
Let it
yeah.
play out. Read the books. See where it goes. I don't think there's anything to like get all up in arms about just yet. Again, I don't. If it was a thing where they were really trying to downplay it and get rid of it, they wouldn't make it the focal point of the cover art for the very
I love
first
it.
issue of the run.
Yeah, I love that.
So
Take
Yeah.
a stand. I love that. I love that.
Again, you got the updates. Again, there's some good stuff coming, man. A lot of good stuff coming. As a matter of fact, I got so many books I got to get right now. I'm so far behind, man. Like my box is stacked, but they'll see me there this weekend to get it. So
Yep.
I'll be good. But yeah, thanks for the information. If you haven't already followed, man, follow Brendan at Max Effort Collector, Real Rally on Instagram. Get some good stuff over there. If you haven't already become a follower or a member of the 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel, make sure you do. Great content over here. We actually try to put out as much content as possible, bring you in this world so you're pretty much up to date and aware of what's going on in the comic realm. So this is why we do this every Monday. Tune in next week, same thing. We'll basically introduce a new topic, but we'll let you know beforehand. Thanks everybody actually for being a part of it. I'll go through the chat real quick just to make sure I acknowledge everybody and everybody is basically ready. If you haven't already been ready, you're going to be ready now. So definitely let's go. We got the Ben Cave definitely in the building, man. Thank you for coming through. We got, let's see, Loco Luke, always thank you for being here. Toya T, happy early birthday, baby. I'll be up. We're going to celebrate tomorrow. Can't wait for that. So that's going to be lovely.
happy birthday. Latoya.
Yes,
Happy birthday, sis.
Happy birthday.
So
Happy
she's
birthday.
So
to
super
you.
spoiled.
She,
Little nose.
she said she broke into the
birthday.
Carlton dance when I posted that GIF on her
Yeah.
on her page. Yeah, and happy birthday since he's. I know, for us it'll be in like 22 minutes, but he's in the future, so he's already been enjoying the first half of his birthday. So Justin,
very
Yep.
Justin's collection.
Happy birthday to Justin, my guy. I put up a post
Happy
here.
birthday, bro.
So he's been enjoying it. He's in the future, so I'm gonna put up a post on him. Happy birthday, Justin. Thank you for
Yes,
being
sir.
a great guy, man, and hope you celebrating on us. Definitely. We got Ashley in the building. We got Ben Thomas, Brayton, Loco Lou, my guy. Figure Flex Friday. We got Mike Fiala, Bloodsport. We got the Flex Zone in the building. Thank you for coming through. Renz Talentino. Let's see who else we got. Ashley Chase. We got MWJ in the building. Thank you for coming through. Who else we got? We said Charlie the Unicorn. Is it Malika Mabane? I think I said it right. Thank you for coming through.
He said Malika.
Malika. Okay. Malika,
Oh.
Malika
They
Mabane.
almost got it right.
They almost got it. H Green,
Yeah.
1313. Thank you for coming through. Yuli, the second kid. Thank you for coming through. Let's see who else we got. Man, let's see. We got quite a few that actually came
Lael,
through today.
homework assignment for people in the chat. for next week, next Monday when we come back, I want everybody who's here right now, you got to drop in the chat one comic book that you read this week. You got to read at least one new comic book this week. Come on, you got to do it, all right? That's what this show is all about. Read one new comic book this coming week and drop it in the chat next week.
And let us know what you read.
Are sticking with it.
One Pouch Man, thank you for coming through. Cameron Proctor, thank you for being here. My guy Bob Dylan is in the building. Thank you for coming through. Six Scale Mafia as always. We got, let's see here, Max Geekdom. Let's see who else we got. I Am Legend. 0000 was in the building. Thank you for coming through. Darth Batman 81. Thank you for basically being
That's
here,
a
man.
dope
As
name.
always.
Dude, the Russian bot ghosted us tonight.
Yeah,
Where's he
I'm
at?
glad he did. I'm
And
so
no
glad
square
he
balls
did.
either.
Oh,
Maybe it's
Yeah.
the same
SpongeBob
person.
SquareBalls.
No
Come
square
on.
balls didn't come through today.
Maybe
He'll come. He'll be back.
Think
He'll
about
definitely
that.
be back.
Coincidence? Maybe not.
Yeah. Let's see here. Who else we got, man? We got quite a few people that actually came through tonight. If I haven't mentioned y'all, man. Oh, and Luminar. Can't go without saying what's up and shout out to Luminar for always coming through and being tough and holding us down. You know, Amber, thank you for coming through as always. Kiwi Collector, Dessel
Amber.
Bragg, Sammy Gomez, Ray C. Thank you guys for coming through and being a part of this journey, man. What up? Thank y'all for coming. If always, I mean, look, visit your local brick and mortar, your local comic shop. Make sure you support them and keep them afloat through the pandemic. I think we're rounding out that, you know, just make sure you always show that love. Continue to be a collector, continue to love, and do what we actually do. We love y'all. This is what we do it for. We can't wait to see y'all next week, same time, same channel. As always, peace and love, and hopefully we'll get some releases tonight. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, until then, thank y'all for coming through. We love y'all, and we will see y'all later. Peace.